Hey guys, so we are starting past paper discussion 2025 paper, last year paper. So, so if you have done this, I think we did the paper the last Monday. So if you have done the paper, it's a good thing. So better if you didn't do it before watching the uh, the discussion, because you should measure yourself by doing it by your own self alone. Then and after, if you check the answers with the discussion, then you will understand what are the mistakes and how much of a score that you have made, and that really says something about you and your uh, upcoming A levels grade and marks, right? So anyways, we'll start. So there can be different marking schemes. I don't have a proper marking scheme on this. So we'll discuss it, we'll argue it logically and come to the conclusions. And this conclusions of myself can be different from the conclusions of the others, and that is okay. But when we are coming to a conclusion, let's try our best to come up with a conclusion with logical as much as possible, right? So I'm doing this by my own self for the first time as well. I went through the past paper when it was released, but I'm doing it I'm doing it right now, right? So we will do it together and we will see what are the mistakes, right? So come to the paper. An example for tropical green primary rainforest in Sri Lanka, right? So there's only one no, there are many tropical evergreen primary. Now this is the issue, right? When it comes to the question, it says something about primary, right? It says something about primary. There's only one primary forest in Sri Lanka, and that is Singaraja. And not all the parts of Singaraja are primary as well. Only a few parts of the Singaraja are primary, because there are tree falls by some of the organizations in Singaraja forest as well. Therefore, some of the areas of Singaraja aren't primary as well, but the majority of Singaraja is primary. And as you see in the answers, Ritigala, Pidrutalagala, Haggala, Horton Plain, Kanneliya are in the answers, Singaraja isn't given out of any of the answers. And if you compared all the other forests that are given are mostly mountain forests, right? Ritigala, Pidrutalagala, Horton, Haggala, mountain forests. So the most probable answer that should come to the down south area is actually Kanneliya, right? It's actually Kanneliya. It's a evergreen forest, but the issue here is it's not primary. Kanneliya is actually a secondary forest, but really close to a primary forest, but it's not primary. It's secondary as well. But out of these answers, most probable answer is actually Kanneliya. So the answer should be actually Kanneliya, right? Should be Kanneliya. All right. So come to the second question. So the beauty of this part is actually we went on a trip to Kanneliya with the 2025 batch. Their trip was to Kanneliya, and we actually walked through the jungle, and we discussed so many things about the forest. And one of our conclusion we came up with that Kanneliya is not one of a primary forest. Only the Singaraj is there as a primary forest, and even though Kanneliya is not a primary forest, it's really close to a primary forest, right? All the canopy layers and everything are there. It's really close to a primary forest, And out of these forests that are given, Karnali is the most probable answer because all the rest of the forests are mountain forest, right? They are asking for a tropical evergreen rainforest, and that is Karnali, right? Right. Come to the second question. All bacteria are unicellular. That is correct. Bacteria are unicellular. There are no any multicellular bacteria. Are pathogenic. Some can be pathogenic, but not all of them are pathogenic. Have flagella. Sure, some have flagella, but some doesn't have. Like some have cilia and everything. And have nuclei. No, they are pronucleate. Like they have no nucleus. Comprise of cell walls made up of cellulose. No, they have a cell wall made up of peptidoglycan, right? They have cell wall made of peptidoglycan, right? If you can't remember those, take the notes better, right? So all the bacteria are of course unicellular. That is the true statement. They are not all pathogenic. Some are pathogenic, of course. Have flagella, yeah, but some have cilia and some have different locomotion methods. And have nuclei? No, because they are like prokaryotes. Comprise of cell wall made of cellulose? No, the cell wall is actually made of peptidoglycan, right? The cell wall is actually made of peptidoglycan, right? So come to the next, third one. A main type of sugar contained in bee honey. So bee honey is really sweet, right? Bee honey is really sweet. The sweetness actually comes from fructose. So out of the sugars contained in there, it's glucose and fructose are the main. Is glucose given there? Good thing the glucose isn't given there. So the next is actually fructose. So the answer should be fructose. If you take as a percentage, I think, as I remember, the glucose is highest, right? As a percentage, glucose is highest, but the actual sweet taste of the bee honey is because of the fructose. Because out of 3 monosaccharides that are there, fructose, then glucose, then galactose. Out of these 3, most sweet taste is given by fructose, and even in bee honey, the sweet taste is because of fructose, but it's not the majority. So if there was glucose is one of our answer as well, but good thing glucose isn't there, so definitely it's fructose, right? It's fructose, right? Fourth question. Consider the hydrolysis of disaccharide X. So the X is the disaccharide. It breaks down into glucose and fructose. It breaks down into glucose and fructose. So glucose and fructose, of course, is sucrose, isn't it? It's sucrose. Glucose and fructose together makes sucrose, right? So there are some other there are like 4 disaccharides we learn, right? There are 4 disaccharides we learn: sucrose, maltose, lactose, and cellulose, right? We learn 4 of the disaccharides: sucrose, maltose, then the lactose, and then the cellulose. And out of those 4, you're supposed to know all the monosaccharide that it makes, right? You like when you break down those disaccharides, there are like 2 of the monosaccharides, and you're supposed to know all the 2 of monosaccharides that makes the disaccharides, and their type of the bonds, and their type of bond, and what type of a monosaccharide they are combining with. Like, is it alpha type or beta type? One example is, if it is maltose, it's 2 alpha glucose binding with alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond, right? So those details should be remembered. And if it is sucrose, let's say, as an example, 1 beta fructose and 1 alpha glucose combines in alpha beta 1 2 glycosidic bond formation, right? So those information should be there in your brain, and if you don't remember it, take a note. All the disaccharides and its monosaccharides and type of bonds with alpha and beta have to remember, right, of all the 4 disaccharides, right? So the answer is 2. Consider the picture given below. Okay, so now if you see it, this part clearly shows you, it's not clear, but so far it shows the shape of the star, right? So when you see the shape of the star and these single cell layer of roots, you should know it's a root, and the star shape of the root indicates a dicot root, isn't it? So if the star shape is there, definitely it's a dicot root, right? And a plant cross section given in the above picture is root of a dicotyledonous plant. Of course it is a cross section of a root of dicotyledonous plant. Root of monocot, stem of dicot, no. Stem of monocot, no. Vein of a dicot, no. Right, so it's a dicot root. You identify it with the star shape. You identify it with the star shape, this shape. You identify it with this shape, right? Right, so it's a dicot root. So the answer is 1. Right, next question. Polarity of a molecule depends on. Now this is a bit of a odd question out of all the theory we discussed. We didn't discuss much about the shapes because we don't have to discuss about the shapes. There are few of the there are many of the shapes, but like there are few of the basic shapes of molecules, and those molecular shapes actually affects the polarity of a molecule. One example is, we know that the polarity is when 2 of the molecules or 2 of the atoms are in a bond, one atom attracts bonding electrons towards itself more than the other one, right? Let's say if it is HCl, right? If it is HCl, what we discuss is actually HCl as well. The HCl, the Cl actually attracts its bonding electrons more towards the chlorine more than the hydrogen, right? The chlorine actually attracts its bonding electrons more than the hydrogen. Therefore, the electron, there's an electron crowd there. Usually when the bond happens, when the bond begins, when there's a bond H and Cl, the electron cloud is symmetrical like this. But because of the electronegativity we discussed, chlorine attracts more bonding electrons towards itself. Chlorine attracts more bonding electrons towards itself. So the electron cloud deforms and forms something like this. A small cloud area for the hydrogen and a large cloud area for the chlorine. So the electrons usually means negative charge. Therefore, chlorine has a greater negative charge compared to the hydrogen. So hydrogen has less electron charge, which means it has more of a positive charge, right? Because there's a balance of electrons and protons inside of it. So there's more electrons than the protons here. There's less electrons than the protons here. So this gives a positive charge and this gives a negative charge, and this is polarity. We discussed up to that. Now the shape gives something to the polarity as well, right? When they attract it, I actually explained it, right? I actually explained it but didn't give it in the note. If you watch the videos, it's there. I told that sometimes these attractive forces cancel out because of the shape. And I didn't give it as a note, but like it's there. If you check the recordings, maybe I gave the this sticky note note, but I didn't give it as a complete proper note, right? So this is the thing. So when it comes to the shape, think of carbon dioxide or something, right? Think of carbon dioxide. So carbon double bond O, right? Carbon double bond O is there. So oxygen is actually a highly electronegative atom. As we discussed, there were 4 highly electronegative atoms, F4 in Cl, right? And the electronegativity increases this way. So oxygen is a highly electronegative atom and it attracts electrons towards its side. So oxygen gets a minus charge, carbon gets a positive charge. So there's another oxygen, it attracts electrons towards itself and takes a negative charge to itself and gives a positive charge to the carbon. But as you see, the oxygen, 2 of the oxygen and the carbon stays in the same line, the attractive forces, they cancel out because they're in the same straight line. It's like given the same force from the either sides of the object in a straight line. So if the force applies in a straight line, oppositely the forces cancel out. Likewise, the electronegative forces, the attractive forces, cancels out. Therefore, the carbon dioxide linear doesn't have a polarity. The polarity cancels out. So carbon dioxide is a non-polar molecule. But think of it in this way. If it is a water molecule, right? If it is a water molecule, right? If it is a water molecule, so it's in the shape of, it's in a shape with an angle, right? It's in the angular shape, right? It's in the angular shape. You call it the angular shape. So because of this angular shape, they are not straight. It's angular. The oxygen attracts electron more towards itself from both the hydrogens. So therefore, each hydrogen gets a positive charge, and the oxygen gets a high negative charge, right? And it doesn't cancel out because of the shape. Do you understand that? Because this is linear, the attractive forces cancels out. Because this is angular, now there's a resultant force of it. 2 of the forces adding together gives a resultant force. So there's a resultant polarity there of a negative charge. The resultant negative polarity is there. 2 positive polarities are there in the hydrogen. So this is non-polar just because of the shape, and this is polar because of the shape. Get it? So of course the shape actually polarity of a molecule depends on shape. Let's say we don't know it, right? Let's say we don't know it. So what we can do actually is we can take it in this way, right? So if we take it in this way, you don't know the shape, right? You don't know about the shape. So what you do actually is you keep it there for a moment. So think about the other things. Molecular weight would like the other thing we know is like the electronegativity, like electronegativity. So molecular weight is none of the polarity affecting factors, right? Then the number of atoms contained in it, no, not a factor. Then the number of carbon atoms contained in it, not actually a factor, right? We don't care how many carbon atoms there are in the molecule, right? And 5, its boiling point and freezing point has no effect at all. So the only thing we can consider is actually shape. So the method of like removing the factors that you already know, you can actually come to a conclusion that this should be the answer, right? That is one way of answering it. And this is the actual theory behind it, right? This is the actual theory behind it. So yeah, this is how you do it. Right? This is how we do it. Take a note if you want. Right. Right. So come to the next question. 7. Right. The reaction energy of a reaction between NaOH and H2SO4 is equal to the amount of energy released when, right? When a reaction energy of the reaction between NaOH and H2SO. We discussed this in the class that when there is two of the H plus ions and one OH ion, one becomes a limiting factor, right? One becomes a limiting factor. Therefore, one reactant completely reacts and the other one can remain, right? If it reacts in the correct ratio, one has to be excess than the other one. I'll explain it, right? So the reaction between these two, is actually NaOH, right? NaOH plus H2SO4 converts into Na2SO4, right? Na2SO4 plus H2O. So if you balance this, two of the sodiums are there. There's only one sodium here. So if you put a 2 here, the sodium is balanced. And 1SO4, it's already balanced. So if you check the hydrogen, number of hydrogen here is 2. Number of hydrogen here is 2 as well, so it's 4. And there's only 2 hydrogens here. If you put a 2 here, now the number of hydrogens are equal. So you balance the oxygen the last. So sulfate we balance already, so we don't worry about the sulfate. Now number of hydrogen, so number of oxygen is 2 here, and the number of oxygen of water is also 2. So this is balanced. Now if you think about the stoichiometry of the reaction, sulfuric is 1, right? And NaOH is 2, right? The stoichiometry of the reaction is actually 1 to 2, right? It is 1 to 2. The one sulfuric has to react with 2 of the NaOH to give the complete energy of the reaction, right? And the question is asking the reaction energy of the reactant between NaOH and H2SO4 is equal to the amount of energy released when, right? So now which one becomes the limiting factor is the question. So when these two reacts, right? When these two reacts, if there is only one NaOH, right? And one sulfuric, right? You need actually 2 of the NaOH to completely react with sulfuric, right? You need 2 of the NaOH to completely react with 1 of the sulfuric. But you have only 1. If you took 1-to-1 ratio, like let's say you took 1 mole of NaOH and 1 mole of H2SO4. Now the issue is we need 2, but we have 1. So this 1 is finishing, right? The 1 is finishing. So if I write it this way, this is the initial, right? This is the initial. And this is reacting, right? This is reacting. If 1 is reacting, right? If 1 is reacting, now the ratio is 2-to-1, which means if 1 is reacting, half of it should be reacting of H2SO4 because it's 2-to-1. If 2 reacts, 1 sulfuric should react. If 1 reacts, half of sulfuric should react. So the reacting should be, right? Reacting should be 1 of NaOH completely reacts, but out of 1 only 0.5 of the H2SO4 can be reacted. So the final, there will be 0 of the NaOH and 0.5 of the H2SO4, right? That's what happens. And if I take the other things, if it is 1, half of Na2SO4 is formed, and because the ratio of NaOH and H2O are 2 to 2, which means 1 to 1, if one reacts, 1 is produced, right? If one reacts, 1 is produced. That is reacting. 0.5 produced, 1 mole produced, right? And the finals will be 0.5 is remaining here. NaOH completely will be reacted, and NO2SO4 0.5 is produced, H2O 0.5 is produced. Right? We discussed this in the class. So now, as you understand, the NaOH becomes the limiting factor because it's in a lower amount. Get it? See, H2SO4 remains and NaOH becomes the limiting factor because it finishes early. We call it the limiting factor, right? So now, if the reaction to be completed, the limiting factor should be in excess, right? This should be in excess, and this should be, if this is in 1 mole, this should be either 2 moles, or if this is 1 mole, this should be excess, because one of this will completely react with 2 of the NaOH and finish the reaction, right? So the limiting factor should be in excess for the reaction to complete, right? To have a complete reaction. That's the theory about, right? Right. So the reaction energy of the reaction between NaOH and H2SO4 is equal to the amount of energy released when 1 mole of NaOH is fully reacted with sulfuric. So no, if 1 mole of NaOH is fully reacted with H2SO4, that will be only, like, because the ratio is 2 to 1, if 1 mole is reacting, only 0.5 mole of sulfuric will be reacting. So it won't give you the complete energy of the reaction, because this becomes the limiting factor. 0.5 of the sulfuric will be remaining, right? So second one, 1 mole cubic decimeter solution of NaOH is fully reacted with sulfuric. Yeah, so still if it is 1 mole cubic decimeter, which means inside 1 decimeter or 1 liter of solvent, there's 1 mole of NaOH, and that NaOH is reacting with sulfuric. Still 1 mole reacting with sulfuric, so the NaOH becomes limiting, only 0.5 mole of H2SO4 will react. So no, it won't work. Third question, the third answer. 1 mole cubic decimeter solution of NaOH is fully reacted with 1 mole cubic decimeter solution of sulfuric. What do you say? 1 mole of cubic decimeter solution of NaOH is fully reacted. So 1 mole of cubic decimeter of 1 mole cubic decimeter of NaOH solution is again 1 mole of NaOH, and it reacts with 1 mole of 1 mole cubic decimeter solution of sulfuric, which again means 1 mole of sulfuric. So again still 1 mole of NaOH is not enough. H2SO4 will be left without reacting, like 0.5 of HCl will be reacted, so it's not the total reaction. We need 1 mole of H2SO4 to react to have the complete reaction, right? So not that as well. Fourth one, 1 mole of sulfuric is fully reacted with NaOH. That can be happen because NaOH amount isn't given, so 1 mole of sulfuric means complete 1 mole is there, and NaOH is reacting excessively. So if the reaction completely occurs, then 2 mole of NaOH will react with 1 mole of H2SO4, and the complete reaction will be carried, right? So the answer should be actually 1 mole of H2SO4 reacts with NaOH, right? Can be taken. You see the fifth one as well. 1 mole of 1 mole Dm-3 solution of H2SO4 is fully reacted with. Okay, even that is correct, right? Even that is correct, isn't it? 1 mole of sulfuric is fully reacted with NaOH, completes the reaction because it's 1 mole of sulfuric and you get 2 moles of NaOH, so the reaction is completed because the stoichiometric ratio is 1 to 2, right? And 1 mole of solution of sulfuric again contains 1 mole of H2SO4 fully reacted with NaOH, which means you have excess NaOH. So if when the reaction completes, 2 moles of NaOH will react. So they both correct, right? Only the difference is fourth one is taken in moles, number of moles. The second one is taken in concentration. Yeah. So yeah, they're both correct, right? They're both correct. If you have any doubt, like any thing to add, so this is wrong because of this or something, just tell. So in my opinion, it's both correct because 1 mole of sulfuric has to completely react with 2 mole of Na2SO4 to give the complete heat of the reaction. So therefore, the answer should be either 4 or 5. So I don't have the government's marking scheme. So when the government marking scheme is out, let's see what are the answers and what logical conclusion they have made to select one of the answers. Let's see about that. Right. So both should be correct, right? Both should be correct. 8. Which of the following statement actually describes the nature of reaction illustrated by the graph, right? So it's a endothermic reaction because the energy of the reactants is less, energy of the product is high, right? So it's a endothermic reaction because in an endothermic reaction, the energy of the reactant absorbs the energy in order to produce products. So in the products, the energy is high, in the reactants, energy is less. That's a endothermic reaction. So the answer, say the reaction is exothermic. No, the reaction is actually endothermic. So the first statement is wrong. They are asking for the correct statement, are they? Which of the following statement accurately describe the nature of reaction illustrated by the graph? Okay. It's a multi-step reaction. So if it is a multi-step reaction, it has to have more than one activation energy, right? So this has one activation energy. So like if it was like something like this, more than one activation energy, more than one peak, right? If there were like many peaks like that, so it's a multi-step reaction because it has gone through more than one of the activation energies, right? If it is a multi-step reaction, there has to have more than one peak, right? So it's not, so therefore it's not a multi-step reaction. 3. Increasing temperature decreases the rate of reaction. No, increasing temperature always increases the rate of reaction because that is one of a factor affecting the rate of reaction, one of the main factor. But we discuss in a Le Chatelier, like Le Chatelier is not in our syllabus. Like in the previous question, there was one close to that. Like it's not something we discussed in the deep level, but we discussed it. Now there's something called Le Chatelier, which is if the reaction, now it's good to know, if a reaction goes this way, A plus B is under an equilibrium, right? A plus B produces C under an equilibrium, which means A plus B produces C and C again is converted to B plus A, which means like the reactants converting to products and then product is converting back again to reactants, and there's an equilibrium between this. There's equilibrium. This goes this way, this goes this way as well, and there's an equilibrium between these two. So when there's an equilibrium of these reactions, if you put any of a disturbance to the reaction will again rearrange in a way that the disturbance is removed, right? If you put any of a disturbance to the equilibrium, the equilibrium will rearrange to remove this disturbance. One of example is, think of the pressure, right? So now in these two of the sides, the pressure of left side is high because there's two number, like 2n means two of the molecules are there. There's only one molecule in the product side. So if you compare the pressure of the reactant side is high because there's a higher number of molecules there. In the product side, the pressure is low because there's only one number of molecules there. And as per the Le Chatelier or one of our equilibrium law, if you increase the pressure artificially, let's say you are increasing the pressure, so it's a disturbance for the equilibrium, therefore it will rearrange to remove the pressure, right? It will rearrange to remove the pressure. So the pressure is more in the reactant side, pressure is less in the product side. So rather than making more reactants, they will prone to produce more products because in the product side the pressure is low. So the disturbance is pressure, rearrangement is reducing the pressure. To rearrange it, what they're supposed to do is they do the forward reaction more, which is reducing the pressure. So for forward reaction, producing more products is making the number of molecules in the reactor less, which makes less pressure. That is how they remove the disturbance of high pressure. The reaction occurs more towards the forward reaction, right? So that is Le Chatelier reaction. We discussed it in the industrial chemistry. I think we discussed it, and I explained few of the things how it actually helps to keep the equilibrium, right? And that was not really there in the syllabus, but questions are there, right? So that is another type of thing that is like closer to the margin of the syllabus, right? So third one, increasing temperature decreases the rate of reaction. Increasing the temperature decreases the rate of reaction. No, I said this because if you can remember, in ammonia production I said something like this, because in ammonia production hydrogen and right, in the ammonia production, if you can remember, hydrogen and nitrogen reacts to produce ammonia, right? And the heat is released because it's a exothermic reaction. And because of that, if you can remember, in the first chamber there's a cooling coil, right? There's a cooling coil, like there's a metal surface, iron surface, and the gas is entered through this metal surface, and the reaction actually occurs on this metal surface, and there's a coolant here. Why the coolant is there is to remove the heat, right? When the heat is removed, the reaction start to increase the heat. Why? Because heat is usually there because it's an exothermic reaction, and when the heat is removed, the equilibrium is disturbed. So when the heat is removed or the heat is reduced, the reaction starts to, or the equilibrium starts to increase the heat by making more forward reaction possible, right? Making more forward reaction to produce heat. When the heat is removed, the equilibrium was disturbed, so they will make more forward reactions to increase the heat. That is about Le Chatelier law. And if you compare to this one, increasing temperature decreases the rate of reaction, right? Some, like, as per the Le Chatelier explanation, this can be happen, but never take it that way. Always remember, when the temperature increases, always the rate of reaction increases, right? When the temperature increases, always the rate of reaction increases, right? Remember that. Like, this is something you should understand and keep in your mind, right? This is in the margin of the syllabus, and this will be useful to answer some of the questions. but this doesn't apply in increasing the temperature for the exothermic reactions, right? If you increase the reaction for the exothermic reactions, even for the exothermic reactions, rate of reaction will be increasing, right? Rate of reaction will be increasing. Therefore, this statement is wrong. Increasing temperature decreases the rate of reaction is completely wrong, because it's under the factors affecting the rate of reaction. There are 4 factors. Temperature is one of a main factor. So this is wrong. Energy of the activated complex is less than that of the products. Energy of the activated complex, right? Energy of the activated complex is this. We discussed that. This is Mahavraga Devantya, if you can remember, I said that. So this is like a complex, very unstable complex. Before producing the product, there comes a intermediate product which you call the complex, and the highest energy is there of this complex, right? And the energy from the reactants to this complex is actually the activation energy, right? If you have enough energy to produce this complex, the complex will automatically produce the product, right? So energy of the activated complex is less than that of the product. So energy of the complex is this, right? And the energy of the product is actually this. This is the energy of the product, right? This height. This height is the energy of the product, and this height is the energy of the activation energy or the complex. Oh, actually this is activation energy. The energy to the complex is from here to here, right? Energy to the complex is from here to here, and the energy to the product is here. So this height is anyways greater than the energy of the product. So energy of the activated complex is less than that of the products. No. Energy of the activated complex is always more than the energy of the products and reactants both, right? Energy of the activation energy complex is always more than the energy of reactant and product. It's always more than the products and reactants. Remember that if it comes to a statement question, the highest is always the complex, right? And the activation energy means the gap between the reactants and the activation energy complex. So that is also wrong, no? 5th one, activation energy of the backward reaction is less than that of the forward reaction, right? Activation energy of the backward reaction. Backward reaction is this, product to the reactants. So if you take the activation energy from products to reactants, will be this red color one. No? So this becomes the reactants now. Backward reaction, so product converts into reactants. So products, the energy level is this. So this is the activation energy of the backward reaction, and we discussed this. This is the energy of the forward reaction, activation energy of the forward reaction. This is the energy of the backward reaction, because this becomes products, this is the complex, this is the reactants, this is the complex. So this height, you have to compare, right? So the activation energy of the backward reaction is less, of course. Backward reaction activation energy is less, the red one, and the activation energy of the forward is green one. So green one is of course greater. So answer is 5, right? Answer is 5. Answer is 5. 9th one, right? 9th one. What is the conjugate protein? So we discussed under the under what? We discussed under this biomolecules. There is hybrid complex proteins. Those are conjugated, or they are combined with the other molecules, right? A protein bound to another protein, no. So as you remember, there are 3 of the structures of the proteins. One is structural protein, which are the fibers, then the globular proteins, and the third one is actually complex hybrid proteins, which you can call conjugated proteins as well. So conjugated means you combine with another type, maybe a carbohydrate, maybe a lipid. So if it is bind with the lipids, you call it the lipoproteins. If it's combined with a carbohydrate, you call it glycoproteins. Likewise, there are different complex proteins hybridized with other molecules, right? So protein bound to another protein, no. A protein bound to another biomolecule, yes, can take. A protein containing more than 100 nucleotides, doesn't have to be. A protein that helps to build up biological structures, a protein that helps to build up biological structures, a protein that helps to build up biological structures. Of course, yes, protein that helps to build up biological structures. This is correct. But it's not related to the question, that's the thing. Right? A protein that helps to build the biological structures is correct, but not related to the question, I think. Let's see. A protein formed by the conjugation of several primary proteins, not several primary proteins. It should be with some other, biomolecules different than protein. So two of the answers are correct, but you have to take the most accurate one. Should be the second one, right? Should be the second one. Right, 10th question. Consider the reaction given below. Right, consider the reaction given below. 3 barium hydroxide plus 2 phosphoric acid converts into barium phosphate plus 6H2O. Which of the following statement is correct regarding the above reaction? Right. It's about the rate of reaction. So when it comes to the rate of reaction, it's you have to compare them with the stoichiometry. So when you compare them with the stoichiometry, it's good if you can go into the average rate of reaction, which is when you reciprocal the what do you reciprocal? The stoichiometry of the reaction to take the average rate of reaction, right? So what you do to take the average rate of reaction is actually you reciprocal the stoichiometry of the reaction. So it's was barium hydroxide, wasn't it? Barium hydroxide reacting with phosphoric acid, H3PO4. Should be producing barium phosphate. It should be producing barium phosphate, producing barium phosphate, PO4. So the stoic valence is 3, 2. This should be this. And this is water. And the stoichiometry is given, like balanced equation is given. So it's 3216, okay. It's 3, 2, 1 and 6. And the rates of reaction would be, if you write it in the concentrations or number of moles, doesn't matter. Rate of reaction of B, I'll write for the each and every reactant and product. Now this should be, because it's a reactant, the rate should be minus, because the answer will be a minus value. So multiplying with this minus, it will become a plus, a positive value. So you have to put a minus before the formula. So minus, the stoichiometry is 3. When you are taking the average rate of reaction, you have to reciprocal the stoichiometry at the concentration of BaOH twice. BaOH twice. You have to divide this by time, right? That is the rate of reaction of BaOH twice. And the rate of reaction of H3PO4 will be, it is also minus because it's a reactant as well. So 1/2 concentration of concentration difference, so delta should be there, concentration difference of H3PO4, right, divided by time equals, now they are all equal, so I'm going to the next one. So this is product, so you don't have to put minus, it's a plus value, and there's no stoichiometry, so it's 1 actually, so 1 reciprocal is 1 itself. Va3PO4 2 concentration difference, right, divide by delta T, right, and the concentration difference of water is actually 106 delta H2O concentration difference divided by pi. And the thing about the average rate of reaction is, when you apply the average rate of reaction, each of the rate of reaction should be equal. So this equals to this equal to this should equal to this, right? So if you want to compare two of the things, what you have to do is, you can cross multiply and check, right? So rate of 1 time H3PO4 over delta T can equal to, if you cross multiply this by 2 over 3 times BaOH twice over delta T. Or if you compare these two, 1 time this equals to half of the rate of reaction of this, and the rate of reaction of barium phosphate is equal to 1/3 of the rate of reaction of barium hydroxide. And if you compare these two, first and last one, right, so 2 of the denominators can cancel out, 1 to 2, right, 1 to 2. So if you cross multiply it, right, if you cross multiply it, that will be 2 times barium hydroxide consumed rate is equal to, right, 1 time production rate of water, right? When you cancel these 2 out, 3 times 2, and you cross multiply by 2, which means formation rate ration of water is equal to 3 times the consumption rate of barium hydroxide, right? So likewise, you can put the stoichiometric ratios here and there and compare the rate of reactions of each other, of the reactants and products, right? Remember that, and the minus and the plus values are really important. Okay, now come to this one. Rate of reaction is equal to the rate of production of water. So rate of reaction in this case means actually the average rate of reaction, right? Average rate of reaction is to the stoichiometry 1, right? To the stoichiometry 1. So it's water is not 1, right? So stoichiometry is 1. If it is barium phosphate, right? Barium phosphate rate of reaction is 1. So if you can take it, if you want to take it, you can take the barium phosphate or like 1/6, 1/3, 1/2 of the other reactants and products, right? So anyways, the statement is wrong. Rate of reaction is equal to the rate of production of water is wrong, because it's 1/6 of rate of production of water, right? Rate of reaction is 1/6 of rate of production of water. So this is wrong. Rate of reaction is 6 times greater than the rate of production of water. That is correct. Rate of reaction is 6 times greater. Rate of reaction is 6 times greater than the rate of reaction of water, of course. That is somewhat correct, isn't it? So the rate of reaction, as I say, rate of reaction, the average rate of reaction is when the stoichiometry is 1. So stoichiometry is 1, let's say this barium phosphate is stoichiometry 1, right? So that is equal to 1/6 of the H2O, right? So 6 times the rate of reaction is equal to the rate of reaction of water, right? This is the rate of reaction when the stoichiometry is 1 and is equal to 1/6 of the rate of formation of water, and if you cross multiply this, 6 times the rate of reaction is equal to the rate of reaction of formation of water. rate of production of water is 6 times greater than the rate of formation of, rate of reaction. That is correct. This one, rate of reaction is 6 times greater than the rate of, the other way. Did you take it wrong? Rate of reaction is 6 times, right? Rate of reaction is 6 times greater than, no. That is correct. Hold on. If you cross multiply this, rate of reaction is 6 times greater than the rate of production of water. So second statement is correct. Second is correct. Rate of reaction is 6 times greater than the rate of production of water. This is correct. Right. We'll check the others as well. Right. Third one. Rate of production of water is 6 times greater than the rate of reaction. No, it's 1/6 of the rate of reaction. Right. It's 1/6 of the rate of reaction. So this is wrong. Fourth one, rate of consumption of phosphoric is equal to the rate of reaction. No, rate of consumption of phosphoric is how much? 2. So it's 1/2 of the rate of consumption of phosphoric is equal to the rate of reaction. So this is also wrong. Rate of consumption of phosphoric is equal to the half of the rate of reaction. Right, rate of consumption of phosphoric is equal to the half of the, 2 times the rate of reaction, right? Because you have to cross multiply. So it's 2 times the rate of reaction is equal to the rate of consumption of phosphoric. So this is also wrong. So you have to be focused and be brainful to keep it in mind and check the ratios, right? If they equal, half, increase, decrease, or what. Hope you understood it. Right. 11. What is the correct statement regarding thin layer chromatography? TLC. TLC can be used to separate large scale samples. What do you say? So thin layer has these two things. Thin layer has 2 of the thicknesses. So in the tube I have mentioned that thin layer TLC sometimes is used for quantitative analysis as well, right? So there are 2 of the analysis. One is qualitative analysis, the other one is quantitative analysis. So in the qualitative analysis you just only need a very small sample just to test if this is the correct sample. Very small amount, a bit of the extract is enough. But quantitative means you need a large amount to extract for something else. We don't know whatever it is. So you extract more for quantitative analysis and you extract less for qualitative analysis. So in thin layer chromatography there are 2 of the thicknesses. As I remember, one is 0.5, the other one is 1. I'm not sure if it is inch or millimeters or something. Just put a message. If you can remember, it's in the natural products tube. There are 2 of the thicknesses, 0.5 and 1. Not sure if it is inch or millimeters. So anyways, like if it is 0.5 millimeters, it's for the qualitative analysis because only a small amount will be extracted by a 0.5 of a thickness because it's really small. If it is 1 of a thickness, it's larger than that one. So it gives a more higher extraction than the 0.5 and it is for the quantitative analysis. So TLC can be used to separate large scale samples. Theoretically, sometimes you use it for quantitative analysis as well. Doesn't mean you can separate very large scale of samples, but keep it, right? We'll keep it. Second one, in TLC, the mobile phase travels due to the gravity. No, the gravity is downwards. The mobile phase goes upwards, if you remember, right? Because in the TLC, we'll be doing the practicals, right? I bought all the practical chemicals and everything. We'll be doing the practicals. So in the TLC paper, the the mobile phase runs upwards, right? Mobile phase runs upwards, then the gravity is downwards, right? So TLC mobile phase travels due to gravity? No, that is wrong. In the TLC, the mobile phase travels due to the capillary reaction. That is true. That is true, because there are like very capillary holes, very small holes, that when you put the plate to the solvent, because of the capillary reaction, the liquid will be moving up. So this is true. This is true. Can take. TLC is an experiment method that takes longer time. No, can do it really fast. It's easy. For any mobile phase, RF value of a compound is constant. For any mobile phase, RF value of a compound is constant. No, when the stationary phase changes with the mobile phase, the RF value can change. So it has to be both stationary, mobile phase, and the compound are same. The RF value is same. If the same mobile phase, if the same conditions, if the same stationary phase, if it is the same compound, RF values are same. But if it is the same mobile phase but different stationary phases, still the RF values are different. So this is also wrong. So it's either 3 or 1. The most probable answer is actually 3, right? 3 is the most probable answer, right? 12. Come to this one. Crystalline polymer. So crystalline means crystals, the crystals, right? So crystalline polymer, there is no such polymer we discuss, crystalline polymer, but the only one that comes to my mind is ebonite. Ebonite is sort of a crystalline one that is made of rubber by vulcanizing 100%. If you break all the double bonds and made sulfur cross bonds using rubber, that will make ebonite, and ebonite is fully crystalline form of polymer. And apart from that, I don't get any of the crystalline polymers to my mind out of the things we discussed, right? If there was, remind me, if there was any of a polymer that is crystalline, just remind me. It doesn't come to my mind. I don't know, right? Let's see. Contain cross-linking bonds. So this is, if this is rubber, of course cross-linking bonds are there. Can take, we'll hold it. We don't know, we'll hold it, right? We'll hold it for a second, right? Shows elastic properties. No, crystallines like crystals, no? So they are more fragile than amorphous. Then the elastic can be softened under the heat. No, crystals you'll have to heat and they will melt. They won't soften, right? They will melt. Comprises of polymeric molecules arranged in one direction. Well, now this one. So crystals are really hard. So the hardness comes when molecules are arranged linearly, right? So one direction means linear, which means they don't have any of the branches. It's like a bunch of sticks, right? If a bunch of sticks which are linear, you kept together, you try to break it, it's really hard. So the hardness is because of the linear molecules mostly. I mean, if you take a bunch of branched sticks and you kept them together, it will be like a large bundle, and there are more spaces, so you can break it easily. So if it is linear molecule, its strength is really high. So comprises of polymeric molecules arranged in one direction. Could be when it comes to the crystalline. This can be correct as well, because arranged in one direction means actually linear. So when they are linear, They're like bunch of sticks. It's really hard to break, and crystalline is really hard to break. They're not easy to break, right? So we'll keep it anyways, if you get a good answer. Comprise of several type of monomers linked by cross-linking bonds. Comprise of several type of monomers. They don't have several type of monomers. Actually, they have like one type of monomer repeating. There is a polymer. This is actually about rubber, I guess, because like it tells about the sulfur cross-linking, because cross-linking actually occurs with the sulfur. So this is wrong. So only two of the answers are there. Contains cross-linking bonds. 4 comprises of polymeric molecules arranged in one direction. They are both correct. Either it's 1 or 4. 1 or 4. What do you say? 1 or 4. Contains cross-linking bonds. Comprised of polymeric molecules arranged in one direction. So even if it is not for the cross-linking bonds, still a polymer can be crystalline because of its linear arrangement. You know, luckily rubber has sulfur cross-links, and it makes this, what did I say, the last, ebonite, and it's a very good type of a crystalline one. So I don't know, 1 or 4 anything. I'd go for 4 because this happens only in few of the molecules. This is common for all. So I'd go for 4. Even the first one is correct. 13. What is the correct statement regarding natural products? What is the correct statement regarding the natural products? Natural products are chemical compounds that are produced by living organisms, right? Natural products are chemical compounds that are produced by living organisms. Yeah, that is by definition, natural products are chemical compounds that are produced by, of course, living organisms. That is correct. So that is what natural products means, right? The living organisms produce it. Primary metabolites are not essential for growth and survival. Of course it is. So 4 of the factors are there. Primary metabolites are responsible for growth, survival, reproduction, and what? So this is anyways correct. Right? So they are asking the false answer. No, correct statement. So we already got 2 of the answers. Yes. Natural products are chemical compounds that are produced by living organisms is correct. Primary metabolites are not essential for. Not essential is wrong, of course. Not essential is wrong. Secondary metabolites are mainly used for energy storage. Not mainly used, right? Mainly used, I can't say mainly used. They are used for many other things, like for the security, for the attraction, for the distraction, can be any other thing. Secondary metabolites are essential for growth and survival. They are not essential for growth and survival because growth and survival are for the primary metabolites. So that's wrong. All organisms produce all secondary metabolites. No. So secondary metabolites are specific for species to species, right? So different species make different secondary metabolites only related to them, right? Only related to them. Right. 14th question. Which of the following statements regarding alkaloids are correct? Right. Which of the following statements regarding alkaloids are correct? They contain nitrogen. What do you say? So if you can remember, we discussed that alkaloids are started to produce with an amino acid, and in the theory it says all the alkaloids are originated from amino acids, but they are not proteins, right? They are not proteins. That is a statement. So those statements can repeat. Huh? So remember this, all the alkaloids are originated from amino acids, but they are not proteins. So if they originated by the amino acid, which means they all contain nitrogen, because amino acids are basically nitrogen, right? They are basically nitrogen. B, they are usually volatile. So alkaloids are crystalline. That is why you call them kudu, isn't it? That is why you call them kudu, like crystalline powder. Crystal powders are there. So they are not usually volatile. You will have to, like, when you say they are usually volatile, which means they should be volatile in the room temperature. No, they are not volatile in the room temperature. You will have to heat it. So the the people who take the drugs, you might have seen, like in the movies, they heat it to make it volatile. So the crystal. They usually have medicinal properties. Of course. They have so much of medicinal properties. So the regarding alkaloids, what are correct? A and C. Answer is 4. Answer should be 4. We'll see when the marking comes out. What is the main reason for the higher yield of pulp in mechanical methods compared to the chemical method? Higher yield of pulp of mechanical method compared to the methods in what is the main reason for the higher yield of pulp in mechanical methods compared to the chemical method in manufacturing? Lignin is not removed in mechanical methods. They are used in different ways. Wood used in mechanical pulping contains more fibers. Filling agents are added in the mechanical method. No, mechanical method can cause oxidation of pulp. The chemical method does. No, water is used in mechanical method is wrong. Water is used. Mechanical method can cause oxidation. The chemical method actually causes oxidation. Filling agents are added in the mechanical method. No, in both the methods, filling agents are added. Wood is used in mechanical pulp. Wood used in mechanical pulping contains more fibers. Lignin is not removed in mechanical methods. The first statement is correct, right? Lignin is not removed in mechanical methods. You have to add some chemicals to do that. Wood used in mechanical pulping contains more fibers. There's no such thing, ne? There's no such thing. So this should be correct. Answer should be the first one. 16. Why are plant oils containing low free fatty acids more suitable for biodiesel production? Because they make soap. Because the catalyst we use in biodiesel production is NaOH, and if the NaOH, if there is free fatty acids, which are like free fatty acids are these, C double bond O, OH, and this tail, these are the free fatty acids. So if the free fatty acids react with these NaOH, it will produce a sodium salt of free fatty acid, which is a soap, right? And this is soap, right? So free fatty acids increase the pH of plant oils. No. Free fatty acids increase the pH of the plant, decrease the pH of the plant oils. No. So they are acids, but like not that much of acid, like make acidity to reduce the pH. It's just a simple acid, very simple acid, a very weak acid. Formation of soap is promoted by This is the answer. Formation of methyl esters promoted by FFAs, no. Have a lower ignition temperature than no. So answer is 3, right? 17. Which of the following is proven to be the most effective strategy to reduce the use of single-use polythene grocery bags in supermarkets? So if you know, when you go to the supermarkets, now they are charging an extra 5 rupee or 3 rupee for a bag. They are asking if you need a bag or not. So you are charged. So when you are getting charged, you won't get to buy it, right? So that's what they have used. If you go to the Keels or other supermarkets, they ask if you need a bag or not. And if you need a bag, they will charge extra. And that was new government rule. Making thinner bags to reduce polythene consumption, no. Imposing a special environmental tax on supermarkets. That is correct, right? A new tax is imposed to the supermarkets and they are taking it by the customers, right? So changing a fee on polythene bag usage followed by a public awareness. Charging a fee on polythene bag usage. That is again the same thing. Charging a fee on polythene bag usage followed by public awareness. Charging a fee on polythene bag usage followed by a public awareness. That is also correct. And they are same. Allowing only larger size bags to reduce the number of bags used. And that is even correct. Like if you allow only, like it's not what's functioning already. What's functioning already is like 2 and 3. If you give only large bags, so they will avoid taking a bag for the small amount of products. This is good, but this is not what is functioning right now. Imposing a total ban on the usage of polythene bags can do, not practical, but something can do, but it's not something functioning now. So 2 of the things are there. Imposing a special environmental tax on supermarkets. So now the tax is on the consumers, right? Not the supermarkets, I think. No, yeah. They are asking money from us. Yeah, it's not on the supermarket. So if they tax the supermarkets losing the money, but they will indirectly increase it. Like will take it from the products. But I think the tax is on the consumers, not the supermarkets. Check that as well. Right. Which of the following statement is correct regarding environmental issues? Right, environmental issues. Acid rains are caused by human activities only. What else could it be? It's like the human activities like fuel combustion. Because in the fuel combustion, NOx, sulfur dioxide, then basically those 2 are released to the atmosphere, of course. So this is okay. UV rays are essential for natural ozone generation. Of course, it is essential. Like ozone layer is not just like a wall. You call it a wall, but it is not just like it's not like concrete. It's a functioning layer, which means it absorbs energy to break down oxygen, and then it absorbs energy to produce ozone. Then again it takes energy to break down ozone, and it takes energy to reform ozone. So it's basically a layer of functioning molecules with energized by the ozone layer. So if there's no energy produced by the UV energy, so there won't be any ozone layer as well, because without UV no ozone layer as well, right? So actually the ozone layer is functioned by the energy of UV, and there are 3 types, A, B and C. So as I remember, A is absorbed in the iron layer, and only the B is absorbed in the ozone. The C penetrates everything and comes to the earth directly. So like read the theory, it's all there in the text, right? Right. So this is correct. Use of fresh plant oil to produce biodiesel is common in many countries. Use of fresh plant oils to produce biodiesel is common in many countries. What do you say? Use of fresh plant oil to produce biodiesel. So this can't be very true, because use of fresh plant oil is really unnecessary, because if you use fresh plant oils, they are basically the food items, right? So we are already lacking of food supply. So if you use like the fresh oils, you will lose food. And if you want to use fresh oils, you'll have to like grow plants separately, and even for that we don't have enough space to grow plants for the oil supply for the biodiesel. So it's not gonna work. We mostly use used oils for the biodiesel production. This is wrong, right? 4. All gases produced from the combustion of fossil fuels are greenhouse gases. What do you say? All gases produced from the combustion of fossil fuels. So in the fossil fuel, there's complete combustion and incomplete combustion. So majority of the gases are actually greenhouse gases. Even sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide are greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide, both are greenhouse gases, and they are the combustion products of these gases. But gases also contain, if it is incomplete combustion, even incomplete combustion can occur, right? If it is incomplete combustion, the long chain hydrocarbons that it produces are not greenhouse gases at all, right? PBN, PAN, sort of long chain hydrocarbons that's produced in the combustion in the engines are not greenhouse gases. So all gases produced from the combustion of fossil fuel are greenhouse gases. No, wrong. 5th one. Fertilizers produced by industrial fixation add new nitrogen to the environment. What do you say? Fertilizers produced by industrial fixation add new nitrogen to the environment. That is true, because in the fertilization produced by industrial fixation, they produce nitrates out of what? They produce nitrate out of nitrogen gas in the atmosphere, and they convert into they convert nitrogen gas into nitrates, which can be absorbed by the plants, and they put it into the soil. So they actually fertilizers produced by industrial fixation add new nitrogen. The issue is with the environment. They add to the soil, not to the environment, right? Fertilizers produced by industrial fixation add new nitrogen to the soil, not to the environment. Because if you take the environment, the amount of nitrogen in the environment is a constant, right? So there is no creation of nitrogen, because the number of nitrogen in the environment itself, like the earth, is a constant. So you are not adding, in the sense like you are not creating new nitrogen. This is wrong in that sense. So 2 answers. Acid rains are caused by human activities only. Yeah. UV rays are essential for natural ozone generation. Yes. So they're both correct. What do you say? Which answer is correct? What else can acid rain made of? I don't think there are any natural phenomena that cause acid rains. Can you come up with any of a natural phenomenon that happens that can cause acid rain? They're both correct for me. I don't know. Acid rains are caused by human activities only. Yeah. UV rays are essential for natural ozone generation. UV rays are essential for natural ozone generation. UV rays are essential for natural ozone generation. Yeah, it is. What do you say? Now the number of people online are very lacking. It's really, can't accept. Not gonna discuss any more questions like if you aren't attending the classes. I'm gonna tell this in the group as well. If you're not attending, like I know you're watching the recordings, but attend a live class, man. What the hell? So you learn something new. So what do you think out of these two? Which could be the correct? Sanjay, could you tell? What could be correct? Then we'll take the, because we don't know if acid rain could be caused by any other activity. So this is obviously correct. So I'll take this one. Right, I'll take this one. 2. 19. The end of the straight wire is connected to the top end of the pole of height 63 centimeters, fixed perpendicular to the horizontal ground, and the other end is tied to the ground. The wire is 65 centimeters long, which is the distance from the lower end of the wire to the lower end of the, what is the distance from lower end of the wire to the lower end of the pole? So it's a maths question, right? We'll draw it and we'll see what the answer is. Right. Right. So let's come to this question. This is easy, I think. End of a straight wire is connected to a top end of the pole. Height 63 centimeters, fixed perpendicular to the horizontal ground. So there's a pole. I'll draw it here. There's a pole 63 centimeters, right? And end of a straight wire is connected to the top end of the pole of height 63 centimeters, fixed perpendicular to the horizontal ground, and the other end is tied to the ground with a wire 65 centimeters long. So the other end is tied to the ground with 65 centimeters long, and here it's tied to the ground. What is the distance from the low end of the wire to the low end of the pole? So they're asking for this distance. So that's basically Pythagoras, right? 63, 65 must be a Pythagoras triplet. Can somebody tell me what is the triplet there? What is the triplet there? (63, 65). Right. Pythagoras triplet. Triplet 63, 65 and 16. 16. It's actually 16, huh? 16. So the answer is 1. So as I said, like if you remember the triplets, it's easy to get the answers, right? If you can remember the these triplets, it's easy to get the answers. 20. In radians, how much is the angle marked as x in the diagram? So this is even easier, right? So they are asking x in radians. So this is 20, this is 10, 30. So the internal angle should be 180. So this should be 150, right? This is 150. So if it is 150, this side is 360 deduct 150. That is how much? 210. And you have to convert this 210 degrees 2 radians, right? So if it is 180 degrees, it's 5 radians, and you have to find how much for 210 degrees. 0 to 0 cancels out. 3 times 6, 3 times 7. So it's 75 over 6, right? 75 over 6. 75 over 6, answer 4. An architect is developing a blueprint for one floor of house which is shown in the diagram. The shaded area represents the floor area that needs to be fully tiled. How many square tiles of 20 centimeter into 20 centimeter will be needed to cover the shaded area? So they are covering the shaded area with 20 centimeter. So if you mark the shaded area, this is 4 meters, right? This is 4 meters. This is 4 meters, right? And how much is this one? It's 2 meters, isn't it? The diagram isn't very clear. Let's have a single medium one as well. I'll check. So I'm hoping to do more, the paper discussion, and if this is the attendance, I won't be doing it again. Huh? And this is enough. It's more than enough. 25 single medium, single medium, single medium. Okay. There's a nice paper of single medium. Single medium paper ka patta separate dena. English medium me na ambarla, body galla, hapala. Em ginala dadi. So what's it? Okay. Height here is 1 meter. Right. This is 1 meter. This is 4 meter. And this is 2 meter. This length is 2 meter. Right. So if you check the margins, right? If you check the margins, if you add 20 centimeter tiles, it will basically cover all the margins, isn't it? Because this length is 10, and if you take this band, you can cover it with 20 centimeter lengths, and if you take this band, this will be 6, this will be 10, this will be how much? 4, 10, 2. So every edge of it is a complete band. So if it is a complete band, you just have to divide it, you just have to divide it by the, you just have to divide the shaded area by the area of a tile, right? Because it doesn't make any decimal values, because like they finish in complete exact values, right? Because if you remove this one, that is 4 to 2, 8. 8 is a complete square, doesn't have any of a decimal. So the 40, 20 into 20 is like 400, is like definedly removing all the, like, can be fixed exactly to these values because there are no decimals left. They are perfect values. So best way is you take the complete area of it, you reduce the area of the unshaded part, and then you take the shaded area, then you divide it by the area of a tile, so you get the number of tiles that it takes to cover the shaded area. So this is how I would do. 7 into 10 is the complete area, 7 into 10 is the complete area. That is 70 square meters. And you should deduct the unshaded area, which is 4 into 2, 8 square meters. That will be 64 square meters, right? And that is this area, the shaded area. And the area of a tile is actually 20 into 20, which is equal to 400 square centimeters. Now this is the area that you have to cover. So convert this into square centimeters. So if you convert 1 meter into 1 centimeter, that is you have to multiply by 100. You have 2 of the meters to multiply likewise. So 100 into 100, that is 10 to the power 4. Divide by 4 into 10 to the power 2. 400. Now this is square centimeters. This is square centimeters as well. So this is the shaded area. This is the area of a tile. So if you divide this, get the number of tiles. So 10 to the power 2 cancels out. 10 to the power 2 left. 4 times 1. 2, 24 is 4 times 6, right? So it's 1600. Huh? No answer. What just happened? Isn't it 64? So at least the approximate answer should be that. 1600. So 150, yeah, 1550 is the approximate answer. Yes? 70 minus, sorry, so 70 minus 8 is 62, right? It's 62. This is 62. And you should divide, you should put 62 here. Hold on. This is 62. Divide by, yeah. So that is, if you divide it, 2, if you divide this by 2, that is 31. Divide by 2 again, that is 15.5. 15.5 into 10 to the power 2. 1550. Anyways, the answer is same. So if you even take the approximate value, that will be same. Yeah, it's a simple math mistake, right? So it's 1550. You just took the shaded area because they perfectly divide by 400 because they don't have any decimal values. So they perfectly divide. So you took the shaded area completely and you divided it by the area of a tile. That's all. Right. 22nd question. A swimming pool is 8 meters long, 6 meters wide and 1.5 meters deep. The water resistant paint required to paint the pool cost Rs 120 per square meter. What is the cost of paint required to cover the interior surface of the pool? Right? A swimming pool is 8 meter long, 6 meter wide and 1.5 meter deep. The water resistant paint required to paint the pool cost Rs 120 per square meter. What is the cost of paint required to cover the interior surface of the pool? So there's only one surface that is you are losing, right? So 5 surfaces you will have to cover anyways, right? 5 surfaces you will have to cover anyways. So yeah, it'll be something like this. Right, it'll be something like this. So 8 long, 6 wide, 1.5 deep. 8 wide, so 8 long, 6 wide, 1.5 deep. So you have to take this area, right, and this area. This area, like this area into 2, this area into 2, and this area. Right, that's all. So take 3 of the areas and have to take 3 of the areas and multiply by 2. One area multiplied by 1 because this top area is not covered, right? So if I take this one, there is 8 into 1.5 and 2 of that is are there, plus this area 6 and 1.5, right? 1.5 into 6 and there are 2 of that, plus 1.5 into 6, 1.5 into 6, okay, 8 into 6, 2, what else? This area, 8 into 6, 8 into 6, there is only 1. So you have to add them all together, that is the surface area. Now somebody add these together and tell me. Sanjay, add these together and tell me what is the final value. 8.15 into 2, 16 point, sorry, 8 into 1.5 into 2, 24, plus 1.5 into 6 into 2, 42, plus 8 into 6, 90. This is 90. So the complete area is 90 square meters. They are asking the price, right? Price. So what is the cost of paint required to cover the interior surface of the pool? So it says the pool cost R is 120 per square meter. So the cost per square meter is 120. So you have to multiply this by 120 to get the answer. That will be, I'm going to stop in a few minutes. So nobody's like going to put the answers, like who can't do is this 90, sorry, it's a bit late. That's okay. That's okay. At least like send me the answers because I can't do all the calculations and do the board thing, like take a long time. So it's 90 into 120, 1,800 rupees, right? We'll take 1,800 rupees. 1,800 rupees, right? At least Anji is supporting. Like I don't know all the others, what are they doing? Right? Not gonna do it this way, huh? Right. Come to the next one. 23. A cone-shaped ice sculpture with a base radius of 0.5 meters and a height of 1.2 meters melts at a rate of 0.002 cubic meter per minute. How many hours it will take the sculpture to completely melt? Approximately 5 years, 3. Approximately take 5 years, 3. Right. So remember the radius 0.5, height 1.2, and it melts in a rate of 0.002. 0.5, 1.2, 0.2. So it says something about a cone. Now there's a cone, right? 0.5 radius meters, I hope. Height is given 1.2 meters. So this melts, this is ice made of melt, this melts in a rate of 0.02 cubic meters per, I don't know, minute or second, per minute. MIN. So they are asking how much time it takes to melt the cone. So you have to take the volume and you divide the volume by the rate, because rate equals volume divided by time. So the time equals volume divided by rate, right? So the volume of a cone is 1/3 of 5r square h, right? So 1/3 phi is asked to take as 3, radius is 0.5, I'll take it as half square, h is 1.2. So 3 to 3 cancels out, 1/2 square is 1/4, 1.2 will be 0.3. So the volume is actually 0.3. So I divide 0.3 by 0.002. That will give you the time in minutes. So how many minutes is there? Time in minutes, Sanjay. How many minutes is there? 0.3 divided by 0.002. 150 minutes. So the question is asking actually how many hours? Here divide this by 60. If you divide this by 60, 120, 30 by 2.5, right? 2.5. Answer is 2.5 hours. Yes, Sanjay, thank you. Nice. Thank you, Pate. 24. At a certain time of a day, a vertical post casts a shadow that is 6 meters long on the horizontal ground. At this time, the angle between the solar rays and the ground is 20 degrees. How tall is the post? Right? A certain time of a day, a vertical post casts a shadow 6 meters long, and the rays between the rays and the ground 20 degrees. So it's something like this. Basically the rays, if this is the pole, if this is the shadow, the rays should come from this side, right? And it should hit it here. So the angle between the ground and the rays are 20 degrees, and this is the shadow, and it's 6 meters long. And only this is given, you have to put a tan, right? The tan 20 value should be given. Now it's only the sine and cos values are given, but we know that tan theta equals sine theta over cos theta, right? Tan theta equals sine theta over cos theta, that is 0.34 divided by 0.1. So that will make 3.4 tan theta. So tan theta is 3.4 because tan theta equals sine theta over cos theta. So if I put tan theta here, tan theta will be opposite over adjacent. I'll take this as x, the height of a pole, and adjacent is 6. Tan theta is 0.34 because tan 20 is 3.4. We have got the 3.4. 3.4 equals x over 6. So x equals, if you cross multiply it, 6 times 3.4 put 18 point something. No, 20, no, something more than 18 point. 20 point ගානක් නේ ළඟ එකක් තියෙන එකකින්ද කියන්න බෑ. 20.4, yes. Thank you for the second answer. The question 25 and 26 are based on the following description. A student thrown a ball upward at an angle at time t equals 0 from a balcony. Now these type of questions I gave in the previous years for the 2025 people, and they exactly came the same way. I said like the graphs graphs which are equivalent to these quadratic function equations and the equations in the like these motion equations in circular motion could be there in like in a combination as questions like motion equation and a quadratic function equation combined question can be given. I even gave like sample questions like this as well. So if you check the previous papers we discussed with the 25, they are there, right? They were there. Even for the 26, I think I gave them. So they must have like gone through these questions many times now. A student throws a ball upward at an angle at time 0 from a balcony. The height h of the ball from the ground in the meters after t seconds is modeled by h equals minus 2t square plus 6t plus 8. So this is a quadratic function, right? What is the maximum height of the ball that reaches? So if it is a quadratic function, the maximum height is the maximum of the graph, right? Maximum of the graph. So it will be something like this. Minus 2t square plus 6t plus 8. So graph is minus 2t square plus 6t plus 8, right? And the graph should be of height, because h equals ni, right? So this is h equals ni. So the y is basically, right? Y is basically height and t is basically x and it's time. X is time, right? This is h. H is basically y and time is basically x. So if you plot the graph, this should be height, y-axis, and x-axis should be time, right? And it's a maximum, and it dissects, or it intersects, sorry, it doesn't dissect, it intersects at 8, because the intersect is 8. So if the type of the equation is y equals, right, the type of the equation is y equals minus ax square plus bx plus c. So 8 is the intersect, this is the middle axis of the graph, and this gives you if it is a maximum or a minimum, and the narrow, if it is narrow or wider, right? So it's a maximum, and it's a maximum, and it intersects at 8. I'll draw something like this. This might not be the exact thing, but I'll draw something like this, right? So this is 8, right? So question says they throw the ball from a balcony, right? The student throws a ball upwards at an angle of at time t0 from a balcony. So it goes like this, right? Balcony to the ground. The height of h of the ball from the ground in meters after t second is modeled by, okay. So what is the maximum height of the ball reaches in meters? So anyways, this is the maximum height, right? And that should be from the ground, right? That should be from the ground, not from the balcony. They're not asking from the balcony, right? What is the maximum height the ball reaches in meters? So they're not asking from the balcony. If they're asking from the balcony, the value will be changed. If it is from the ground, let's see, right? So then if you can find the maximum, the x value of the maximum at the maximum point, you can find the maximum height by taking the y value at the maximum point. So there's an equation to find the x value of at the maximum point, which is x equals minus 4. No. Just remind me the equation, minus b over 2a. I think this is the equation. Can you remind me quickly? Is it minus b over 2a? You should remember by now, you should be doing this. I think minus b over 2a. Or 4b over 2a. Minus b over a. I think this is correct. We'll apply to this one anyways, right? Minus b over 2a. So minus b is 6 minus 6 divided by a is minus 2, right? B is 6 right? So minus 6. 2a. A is minus 2. So I'm going to put 2 minus 2. That will be 6 minus 6 divided by minus 4. That will be 3 over 2. That is 1.5. So x is 1.5, right? Nothing 3 over 2. I'll take it 3 over 2, right? So you have to you ask for the maximum height, right? You ask for the maximum height, and you have to find the maximum height. Now you have the x coordinate at the maximum height. So to find the height, you have to take the y coordinate, because height is the y coordinate, right? So if you apply the same in the equation, this one, y equals ax square plus bx plus c, applying x as 3 over 2 or time as 3 over 2, can find the height at this maximum point. So h equals minus instead of t, you can apply 3 over 2, right? Plus 6 into 3 over 2, it's not minus, right? Yeah, 3 over 2 plus 8, right? So simplify this. This is minus 3, right? 2t, yeah, plus 6 plus 8. So that is, so this is 3, right? 2 times 3, 3 times 3 is 9. This is 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. 17 minus 3 is 14. 14 answer. Now there is no 14. So there must be a simplification error. Just tell me where the error is. Is the equation correct now? Equation should be correct. 14. You got the 14 answer? Then the equation is wrong. This, I hate this when this happens. What is the equation now? As I remember, it's minus b over 4a. What did I take? I took 2a. Ne? This should be 4a. What is 4a? 8. Let's see, let me check first. Codes. Right. Yeah, it's minus BO2 is correct. Minus BO2 is correct. So B is minus 6, minus 4, 3, 1.5. Okay, that is correct. So if I put 3 over 2 here, minus 2 into 3 over 2, 2 to 2 cancels out. So it's minus 3 here. 6 times 3 over 2, 2 to 6 cancel out, 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, 9 is correct. And plus 8, right? So what did we do wrong? This is t square. This is t square. Did you see that? Like minus 2t square. Shit, right? This is minus t2 square. So it's here it's 2t square. Ax square. The hell, right? Minus 2 t square. So this is t square. So I'll correct it here. Right. So these parts are okay. So you can directly cancel out it. So this is minus 2, 9 divided by 4. So minus 2 times 2 plus 9 plus 8, right? So it's a mixed fraction. That's minus 9 over 2 plus 9 plus 8. So plus 9 plus 8 is 9 plus 8 is 17, right? So 2 times 17 is 34. 2 times 7 is 34. 34 minus 9 is 25, right? So it's 25 divided by 2, which is 12.5 meters. So the answer is 20.5 meters. There you go. 12.5 meters, right? That's the answer. Yeah, 12.5, yes. So that sort of can happen to yourself when you're simplifying. Just I was like bit pushing it, trying to do it faster. So that's the reason I think got to make some mistakes. So that can happen. Just take time and do it with a good focus. Otherwise, you'll be doing the same. So 12.5. Yeah, shall we move on to the next? Right. Hope you understood it. Right. So the next one. After throwing the ball, how many seconds does it take to hit the ground? The time it takes to hit the ground, right? So after throwing the ball. So they throw the ball at here, and after this much of seconds, it comes here, right? So it should be the x value where the graph intersects the x. So how do you find the x value where the graph intersects the x? That's the what do you call it? You have to find roots of intercepts, x-intercepts. You have to find the roots. So there's the equation, right? X equals minus b plus or minus root b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So if you put this equation, you can find the roots of, roots means where the graph intersects the x-axis, right? So if you find this intersect where the graph intersects the x-axis, this length is actually the time for the object to fall, right? Because at y equals 0, the object is on the ground. So if I put the roots, that will be minus b plus or minus root b square minus 4ac divided by 2a is the equation, right? So b square, b is actually minus 6, not square, just b, plus or minus root 6 square minus 4 into a is minus 2, c is 8, and the complete square root divided by 2a, 2 into minus 2. So we have to simplify this. Minus 6 square is plus 6, plus or minus 6 square is 36. This is 36. 4 into minus 2 is minus 8. Minus 8 into 8 is minus 64. And minus 64 multiplied by minus is plus 64. So plus 64 plus 36 is 100. 100 root is 10 divided by 2 into minus 4. Sorry, 2 into minus 2 is minus 4. So if this is minus 6 minus if this is minus 6 minus 10, that is 16. 16 divided by 4 is 4. And if this is plus 10, that is plus 4. Divide by minus 4 is minus 1. Either it's minus 4 or minus 1. So you take the positive value, right? So anyways, it can't be 1 because this at this point the time is 3/2, which is 1.5. So this should be more than 1.5, right? So it can't be 1 anyways. So it should be 4, right? It should be 4. So the answer should be 4. Right? Answer should be 4. Right. 27. The majority of the employees in a company draws a low salary that is roughly the same, while the rest draws a very high salary. Consider the following statements regarding descriptive statistics of the salary distribution of employees. Right. Consider the following statements regarding descriptive statistics of salary distribution of employees. Right. The mode and mean are likely to be close. What time is it now? 6:40. Right. 7. We don't have much time to go. Right. The majority of employees in the company draws a low salary that is roughly the same, while the rest draws a very high salary. So this is extreme values, right? Rest draws a very high salary, and the majority is low salary, right? Majority is low salary, and few of the people have a high salary, which makes the high salary is some extreme values, right? So mode and mean likely to be close. So if you draw the Boltzmann curve, the frequency and the salary, let's say, right? Frequency and the salary. So this is majority, but to the end there's a bit of a extension, because there are some of the extreme values that are adding to the to like a very small amount of people. This is the majority of the people. They are getting a low salary, and few of the people are getting high salary. So at the high extreme of the salaries, this extends more. So the bell curve should be symmetrical like this, but because they have a high salary, this extends a little bit. So this affects the mean of the distribution, isn't it? Because mean will be shifted a little bit to the right, because there's a higher extreme values at the end, right? So the questions. The mode and mean are likely to be close. No, the mode is the mid value. So mid value can be close to here, right? Mid value can be close to here, because mid value is Q2, right? Mid value is Q2. You take the Q2 by the equation 1/2 n plus 1, right? So this could be more close to the low salary scale, right? But if you take the mean should be shifted little bit more towards the high salary, because when you're adding high salaries, the sum will be increased. So when you're dividing it by the number, it should be shifted to somewhere here, mean, right? And the mode is here. Mode is somewhere close to the center. So the first statement is the mode and mean are likely to be close. No. Mode is more prone to the center, and the mean is like shifted to the right. The median is less than the mean. Median. I said about the median earlier. So the mode is anyway the high frequency, highest repeated number, right? And the median is, this is median. I said about the median earlier. So this is median. Median is also anyways more towards the center than the mean, because the mean is shifted. Mode is the highly repeated number. Highly repeated number is anyways in the very middle, that is for sure. So the median is also somewhere close to the mode, right? They both are like close to the mode, to the center. Like median and mode are close to the center, while the mean is a bit deviated. The median is less than the mean. Median is less than the mean. Yeah, median is less than the mean. That is correct. That is true. The median is more appropriate measure of central tendency compared to the mean. The median is a more appropriate measure of central tendency. Median is a more appropriate measure of central tendency compared to the mean. That is correct, right? Because mean is deviated, right? So the answer should be B and C of the above, the correct statement. A and B. Sorry, B and C. Any answer? Yeah. B and C is there, right? B and C. Right. 28. The interquartile range of a data set. This I have said many times, even recently I said this. The interquartile range is actually the mid 50% because Q1 is first 20%, Q3 is the last 25%, the last 25%, and the quartile range is actually the mid 50%, right? The quartile range actually represents the mid 50%. So range between lowest and highest values in the data set, no. Range of the middle 50% of the data set, that is the range in the ascending order, that is correct. Range between the mean and the mode when they are different from each other, no. Numerical difference between the maximum value and the, no, first quartile, no. Numerical difference between the second quartile and the, no, it's the third and the first quartile. Right. So these are all wrong, huh? This is correct. So the answer is 1. No, answer is 2. Right? The range of the middle 50%. Range of the middle 50% is the answer. Right? Range of the middle 50%. Right. So this is wrong. This is right. All the others are wrong. So the answer is actually 2. 29. 29. A user has a laptop with a pre-installed operating system. He wants to boot the computer using a different operating system stored on a bootable USB drive. For that, what is the correct step he should take? A user has a laptop in pre-installed operating system. He wants to boot the computer using a different operating system, like he's trying to add like let's say you are trying to put a cracked window, right? Crack windows to a laptop. For what? Stored on a bootable USB drive, right? For what? For that, what is the correct step you should take? Forming the USB drive, formatting the USB. So if you format it, you'll lose the operating system. Wrong. Scanning the USB drive for errors. So you don't have to do that, right? You're asking to install it, and he wants to boot the computer using a different operating system stored in bootable USB drive. Yeah, so scanning the USB drive, not necessary. Disconnecting and reconnecting the USB drive. I don't know for what reason. 4. Copying the content of the USB drive to the hard disk and booting from the hard disk. Yeah, that's what you do. Copying the content from the USB drive to the hard disk and booting from the hard disk. Yes, right. Changing the boot order setting to prioritize the USB drive. Changing the boot order setting to prioritize the USB drive. What does it mean? Changing the boot order settings. Okay. Prioritize the USB drive. I don't know about that. Can you do that? So this is anyways correct. Copying the content of the USB drive to the hard disk and booting from the hard disk. So you copy it to the hard disk, then you boot it from the hard disk, right? Basically. Is the answer 4 correct, right? Yeah. Thank you. Answer 4. Support me, with the few of these questions. The device manager of a computer displays the error shown in the diagram. What is the most appropriate troubleshooting action to resolve this error? So error here is there in the Sinhala medium 1. It's a display adapter, right? Here is a display adapter. Display adapter. So there's a display adapter here, right? So what do you have to do? What is the most appropriate troubleshooting action resolved for this? Formatting the hard disk. So if you format the hard disk, everything will be gone, right? So no. Checking for driver updates. Yeah, could be some sort of a, like make it in make a display adapter drivers allow. So checking for the drivers update. This is okay. Upgrading display adapter. Upgrading display adapter is again this, right? Checking for the drivers updates. Upgrading, not updating. Upgrading means you buy a new one, like upgraded version of this one. No. Performing disk fragmentation. So you fragment the disk and check the performance of the disk fragmentation. Not gonna help, right? Reinstalling the operating system. Operating system means no. It's too much to do. So mostly the second answer, isn't it? Checking the drivers, right? Auto updates and Bluetooth, computer, disk drives, display adapter issue. Like device managing everything, right? So answer should be 2. 31. The image below shows the task manager of a computer when it is open. Consider the following statement made by student regarding the use of task manager. It is used to install updates. Now this is not very clear. It's a task manager basically, right? So this is task manager basically. You know that all control task manager. This is basically the task manager, right? It is used to install updates. No, right? Install update karanna task manager. It shows all the running applications, correct. It provides the real-time status of CPU, memory and network. So percentage pen and color part. So BC. BNC only, right? Make a task manager. This one. Question 32 and 33 are based on the tools numbered 1 to 12 of a word processing software shown below. Right? What is the set of tools required to change the following original text to revised text? Original text CH3CO2 is the chemical formula, acetate ion. CH3CO2. Right. Okay. So what is the set of tools required to change the following original text to the revised? So this is the revised one. So what has changed? 1 and 2 only. 1 is what? Lowercase, uppercase. No. 1 is bold, 2 is lowercase, 3 is uppercase. So this is bold, right? Compare to that one. This is bold. This is bold. So 1 is used. 1 used. Right? 2 uppercase. No, lowercase. Is the lowercase used? Yes, right? 2 and 3. 2 and 3 lowercase is used. So 1, 2 they come පාවිච්චිලා තියෙනවාද? 3 එක uppercase use වෙලා තියෙනවද? මෙතන තියෙනවා -1. මේක uppercase එකත් use වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒතර 1 2 3 තුනම use වෙලා තියෙනවාද? extra තියෙන්නේ 1 2 3 තියෙනවා 4 තියෙනවා. 4 එක use වෙලා නැද්ද? that's 4 6 7 4 uppercase. Can capital කරන්නනේ. නෑනේ capital කරලා නෑනේ ඔක්කොම තියෙන විදිහට නේ තියෙන්නේ. නෑ. So now 1 2 3 only. 1 2 3 only. Answer 4. Answer 4. Answer 4, right? Would එකට 1 නේ ආවේ? Would එකට 1. The නෑ උඩට 5 ආවේ 5 this is 5 නේ ආවේ 31 එකට 5 හරි 31 එකට 5 32 එකට 4 නෙමෙයිද 32 එකට 4 32 එකට 1 කිව්වේ 1 and 2 only ද නෑනේ මේ තුනම ඕන right so that was wrong in my side okay තුනම ඕන 33 students are so 33 answer you're saying for students are assigned to prepare an assignment in the following format. The first page is portrait orientation, should have a centered title in all capital letters. The second page in the landscape orientation should have the text arranged in 2 columns. How is portrait orientation තියෙන්නේ central title all capital letters. Second page එක landscape orientation text arranged in 2 columns. That's it. What is the set of tools required to prepare the assignment? මේ ටිකට ඕන ටික නේ ඕන. ඒ ටික ලියාගෙන යන්න මදි. Portrait orientation. Portrait කරන්න නම් මේකනේ. Landscape portrait 8. හරි. 8 ඕන. ඊට පස්සේ center titled what is center titled this is center titled ne 6 center titled 6 1 8 6 center titled what else capital letters all capital letters uppercase capital each word 5 නේ 4 එක ගන්න පුළුවන් capitalize each word එක ගන්න පුළුවන් 4 එක හරි 5 එක හරි හොඳයි අපි නිකන් දාලා තියමු 4 or 5 දෙකම ගන්න පුළුවන් ඊට පස්සේ the page second page in landscape orientation දානවා නම් 9 එක දාන්න ඕන ඊට පස්සේ 2 columns දානවා නම් මේක නේද column තියෙන්නේ column 2 10 එකක් දාන්න ඕන එච්චරයි නේ 8 6 4 5 9 10 8 6 4 5 4 5 දෙකෙන් එකයි හොඳ 8 6 4 9 10 7 ආවද අපිට නැහැනේ 7 මොකද්ද ටයිල් කරන එකට 6 නේ 7 ගන්න ඕනේ නැහැ ඒ පැරග්‍රාෆ් නේ මේක පැරග්‍රාෆ් තමයි ඉතින් ඒ කියමු හරි 7 හරි 6 එකට 7 ගන්න පුළුවන් නේ බලමු පළවෙනි එක 6 4 11 9 10 11 එක අපිට ඕන වෙන්නේ නැහැ නේද it's 11 next page second page එකට යන හින්දා next page එකට ඕනනේ 11 එකත් ඕන එහෙනම් 11 එකත් ඕන හරි ස්නෑන්නේ 6 4 11 6 4 11 ඕන 9 10 9 10 උත් තියෙනවා 4 5 දෙකේ එකක් නේද මේක අයින් කරද 8 එක ඕනේ නැද්ද 8 එක මොකද්ද portrait මේක ඩිෆෝල්ට් එක portrait හින්දා ඕනේ නැහැ නේ පළවෙනි එක ඩිෆෝල්ට් එක portrait නේ 8 එක ඕනේ සර් 8 එක ඩිෆෝල්ට් එක හින්දා ඩිෆෝල්ට් එක කොහොම portrait හින්දා සමහරවිට පළවෙනි එකට ඕනේ නැහැ මේ ටික තියනවද බලන්න. මේකේ 11 එක නෑ. 12 එක තියෙන්නේ. 12 මොකද්ද? what is 12? all page. ඕනේ නෑනේ අපිට all page යන්න. ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් හොඳයි. එයිට් එක ඕනද පළවෙනි එකේ ඉන්නකොට? මේ all page මගුලක් ඕනේ නැහැ නේ. all page එකකට යන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. 6 5 5 එක 4 එක දෙකෙන් එකක්. 8 10 10 එක අරන් තියෙනවා 11 එක නැතුව අපි 10 එකක් ගත්තානේ. අපිට හැම එකම ඕනේ නැහැ. ඔව් 2 කඩන්න ඕන. 11 එක මොකද්ද? next page. 11 එක අරගෙන තියෙනවා 10 11 third එකේ 9 නෑ. what is 9? 9 එක අත්‍යවශ්‍යද බලමු. අත්‍යවශ්‍ය තියෙනවා. ඔව් landscape කරන්න ඉතින් landscape කරා 9 අනිවාර්යෙන් ඕන. එහෙනම් මේක wrong කොහමද? 9 නෑ. 7 4 11 එක 6 නෑ. 4th එකේ 6 නෑ. 6 එක ඕනේ නැද්ද බලමු නිකන්. අපිට කොට දා ගන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා බලමු 6 එක නැතුව. center 7 එක තියෙනවා නම් අවුලක් නෑ. 6 එක වෙනකොට 7 එක. 7 එක තියෙනවා. මොකද ප්‍රශ්නේ? 7 4 11 9. 7 4 11 9. මොකද්ද missing? 7 4 11 9. 7 4 11 9. 7. 7 දෙපාරක් repeat වෙලා. तो 10 නෑ 10 මොකද්ද 7 දෙපාරක් ඕනේ නෑ 10 එක ඕන නෑ අනිවාර්යෙන් කොලම් දෙක කඩන්න බෑනේ 10 එක නැතුව 10 ඕන අනිවාර්යෙන් third එකත් බෑ 7 5 12 එකක් ඇවිල්ලා ඒකට 12 එකක් කොහෙන්ද ආවේ ඒක ඕනේ 12 answer 1 answer 1 තුන වෙන්න බැරිද? තුන මොකද 6 5 11 8 10. ඒකේ නෑනේ අර මේ මොකද නැති වුනේ ඒකේ 7 එක නෑ. next page යන එක 6 5 11 8 9 එක නෑනේ landscape කරන්නේ 9 එකෙන් නේද? ඔව් 9 එකනේ landscape කරන්නේ third එකේ මෙයාව මේක හදනකොට landscape කරන්න බෑ. මෙයා portrait මෙයා landscape නේ. 3 එකේ landscape නෑ. landscape කරන්න ඕන. එයා ඕන. 1 එක තමයි නේ. 1 එක ගන්න. ඒක මොකක් කරේ අවුලක් තිබ්බොත් කියන්නේ. Options 34 and 35 are based on the spreadsheet given below. Right. This is the spreadsheet given. The student completed column C full name with a space between the first name and the last name as shown in the spreadsheet by combining the names in the column A and B using formula. What is the formula used to obtain the output appears in cell C2? C2. What the heck is C2 now? I would have column taken any. මෙතන first name ආයෙ තියෙනවනේ last name මෙතන උඩ A this is A this is B this is C and this is D right and this is average rest of the things are there right A B C D තියෙන. එතකොට ඔයාට ඕන A and B hold on a student completed column C with a space between the first name and the last name as shown in the spreadsheet by combining the names in column A and B. A and B column දෙක combine කරලා තමයි C එක හදලා තියෙන්නේ. හරිද? What is the formula used to obtain the output appears in cell 2 C2. cell 2 එකේ formula එක John Paul C plus A plus B එකනේ ඉන්නේ. ඒතර ඔයා කම්බයින් කරන්න මොකද්ද ගන්න? with the space between the first name and the yeah. මේකත් ඕන with the space. මේ තියෙන space inverted commas. දැන් තමයි space දෙන්නේ. ඒ යන කොහෙම දීලානේ. ඒතර කොහොමද first එක ගන්න බෑ space නැති හින්දා. what happens? first එක ගන්න බෑ space නෑ. A2 plus B2 ගන්න C2 එක නේද? ඔව් A2 plus B2 text joint ඒක චුට්ටක් බලමු. ගම්මට එක පාට එන්නේ. So I think so text join. The text join function combines text from multiple cells into one. You tell it what symbol to put between the words. You also tell it should skip blank cells. It's much faster than typing out a bunch of words or using all the formulas. Text join එක ගන්න පුළුවන්. concatenate. Right. මේකේ text join එක කියන්නේ combine text from multiple cells into one. You tell it what symbol to put between the words. You also tell it should skip the blank cells. Much faster than typing out a bunch of words. Yeah, okay. The other one is concatenate. Concatenate function in Excel. The concatenate function in Excel combines text or values from the multiple cells into one. Its syntax is concatenate text1, okay, comma text2. It's this one. Concatenate එක තමයි එන්නේ. හරිද? text joint එකට වඩා concatenate එක තමයි එන්නේ. මොකද මේකේ space එක තියෙන්න ඕන මැද. මේ inverted commas වලින් ඉන්නේ space එක. ඒක මැද ඉන්නේ මේකත් හරි හැබැයි මේකේ මේ දීලා තියෙන විදිහම තමයි දීලා තියෙන්නේ. හරිද? අනිත් ඒවා නම් එන්නේ නැහැ කොහොමද? Fifth answer. What is the output that the formula average D2 is to D8 returns to the cell D9? Average ගහන්නේ what is the output that formula average D2 into D8? D2 into D8 average ගහන්නේ. මෙයානේ D2 එක. මෙයා D2. මෙයා D8 එක. ඔය සෙට් එක ඇවරේජ් ගන්න ඉතින් මේ ටික ඇඩ් කරලා ඩිවයිඩ් කරන්න තියෙන්නේ. මේ ටික ඇඩ් කරාන් පස්සේ කීයද? 60 125 205 225 230 270 270 divided by 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 කීයද බෑ? 270 divided by 7 කීයද පුතේ? How much is it? $38.57. Answer 3. Right. A chart created in a spreadsheet needs to be pasted into a presentation slide. Chart created in the spreadsheet means Excel. Excel එකේ හදපු chart එකක් need to be pasted into a presentation slide. PPT එකට දාන්න ඕන. The chart needs to be updated automatically when the source data is in spreadsheet change. Excel එකේ data change වෙනකොට ඒක automatically update වෙන්න ඕනලු PowerPoint එකට. කියන්නේ link කරන්න ඕනේ. link කරලා හදන්න ඕන. While keeping the slides formatting unchanged. File format එක unchanged තියෙන්න ඕන. Slides formatting unchanged. Right. Which page option should be used here? Picture එකක් විදිහට දැම්මොත් නම් ඉතින් කොහොමද Excel එකේ ඒවා වෙනස් කරනකොට වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Use destination theme and link data. ඒක ගන්න පුළුවන් වගේ. Use destination theme and embedded workbook. මේකට බලමු. හරි. Destination theme and link data. Destination. මේක ගහපු ගමන් දෙනවා destination theme and link data paste option. The use destination theme and link data option paste copied Excel chart or data into PowerPoint or Word. It matches the copied item to your new document front end colors. It also keeps the data connected to the original Excel file. This means if you change the Excel file, the data in your document updates automatically. So this should be it. අපි අනිත් එකත් බලමු ඒකට. Destination theme and the other one තිබ්බේ මොකද්ද? Embedded workbook. To use destination theme and embed workbook in Microsoft PowerPoint, you copy your chart or data range in Microsoft Excel. Paste it into your slide and choose this paste option. It updates the data to match your slides, colors and packs the original Excel file inside the presentation. So it sends the original file of Excel inside the presentation, but this gives more sort of a accurate description. Destination theme and link data, right? Which protocol is primarily used for ensuring reliable data transmission over the internet? That's basically HTTP, isn't it? HTTP is the most reliable transmission over the internet, right? Because they make the rules or the norms of basic internet, right? So it's HTTP. IP is anyways the address. I don't know what TCP and DNP. We'll check one. Transmission control protocol. TCP. So TISA isn't TCP. What is transmission control? Oh yeah, right. TCP and HTTP. Reliable data transmission. TCP transmission control protocol and HTTP work as a team. TCP acts as a reliable delivery truck. Sure. TCP it is. Yeah. It is TCP. HTTP tells the truck what item to carry together. They ensure the data you send and receive arrives safely and in the right order. So yeah, it's TCP. TCP is the correct answer. Yes, brother. What is the benefit of providing a phone number when creating a new Gmail account? Locating the lost phone. It's a different case. Verifying the identity of the recovering the account. Yeah, you'll receive a message, right, to the either to the WhatsApp because they are all linked, or the local number. When receiving an email, ringing the phone. Please don't do that. When receiving an email, receiving a call automatically. No. Wow. Receiving the mobile phone bill automatically via email. No, right? So yeah, the first one. Second one. So there was a time, second one. There was a time you had to send the email and you had to call the authority, tell that I sent the email, just check the emails. There's a time, So you don't have to have any other SMS or phone calls or anything just to mention that an email is sent. Yes, you're supposed to check your emails if you're working. Right, anyways, 39. What is the physical quantity expressed by the unit AH? AH is ampere hours, right? Ampere hour is charge. This question was already there in my previous papers. If you can remember, in the question banks we discussed this. AH is ampere hours. It's there in my the tut itself, right? and the tube was made like 1, 2, 3, like 2.5 years ago maybe. 40. A starter motor applies a constant torque of 10 Newton meters to a flywheel with a moment of inertia of 0.5 kilograms per square meter. If the flywheel starts from the rest, what is the time taken by it to reach the speed of 960 RPM? So they are asking for the time. So there are two of the equations as I see you have to apply. One is the torque equals I alpha, by that you can find alpha. So when you have the alpha and the RPM is RPM can be converted into frequency. By using frequency you can find the velocity, angular velocity. So when you have the angular velocity and the acceleration, you can find the time that it took to come that velocity. So it's two equations. If this is an easier way, just tell me. So this is what I see. Tau equals I alpha is one equation. So tau is 10. This I. I is 0.5. So you have to find alpha. And the RPM is 960. Right? Time taken by to reach the speed of 960. So final frequency is this 960. This is 0.5. Right? So this is what it means. So a wheel rotates and in a certain time it reaches a speed of 960 RPM, right? So the torque that is made is 10 Newton meters and the I of this is 0.5. I is 0.5, right? And because of this torque and the I, this starts to accelerate. In a certain period of time, it gets a speed of 960. They are asking for the time. So by using the torque and I, you can find the acceleration occurs here, right? The acceleration occurs here. The acceleration. That will be alpha equals 20 rad per square second, right? Now you have the acceleration. What can we do next? You can find the final velocity by this, because frequency is equal RPM over 60. That is how much? 960 divided by 60. That is how much? 16 hertz, right? So now you know the RPM. By the RPM, you can find the omega as well. Omega equals 2 f. This will give you the final velocity. Right. This should move. Let's say this moves this direction. Still should move the same direction. So 2 f. If I apply 2 f, omega equals 2 into 16. That is 32 rad per second. Right. Now you have the final velocity. You have the acceleration. You can put one of a motion equation to find the time spent for this, right? So omega t equals omega naught plus alpha t. You know alpha omega naught omega t, so you have to find time spent for that. So final velocity is that 32 phi, right? So is there a value to phi is 3. 32 into 3, because it's 32 phi, equals omega naught. It starts from the stationary state 0, alpha is 20. You have to find the time. So this is 96 20 t. T equals, you have to divide this by 2 and 10. That is divide this by 2 is 4, 16, 8, 48. So it's 48. 4.8 need? 4.8 seconds. 4.8, right? Yeah, 4.8 seconds. Is there. A wooden block of mass 1 kilogram is placed on a horizontal table the coefficient of static friction between the wooden block and the table is 0.4. When a horizontal force of 2.5 Newton is applied on the block, what is the frictional force acting on it? Consider GST. Now this question I gave the exact same question in the orderlytude of force, right? In the orderlytude of force, I gave the same exact question. Even the mu are same, right? Even the mu are same. Only the applied force was like different. Instead of 2.5, I gave something else. All the rest is same. Same question, completely the same thing, right? And it's a really good question because it's about the static friction, right? Listen to this. So it says, right, there's a wooden block here. It's 1 kilogram of a weight, and the mu is equal to 0.4, and you're applying a 2.5 newtons of a force, and we know that F equals mu r. So we can calculate, this is static friction coefficient, so we can calculate the maximum static friction that occurs here. So it's 0.4. Now 1 kilogram means 10 newtons. Reaction will be also 10 newtons. So reaction is 10. It's 4 newtons. So the maximum reaction that, like the maximum static friction that can occur is 4 newtons. But you're applying only 2.5. For this to be like dynamic friction or the limiting friction, you have to overcome this maximum value of static friction. So this is not dynamic, not limiting friction, right? Now you are applying 2.5 newtons only, so you can't move this because the maximum static friction goes up to 4 newtons. You can't move this. So if you want to move this, you have to overcome 4 newtons. So you are applying 2.5 newtons, so you can't move this, which means the force you apply is returned by the friction, right? Is returned by the friction. It gives the same friction back again, which means the friction is also 2.5. That is a static friction. Static friction is like static friction equals to the force you apply, right? Static friction always equals to the force you apply. When you increase the force you are applying, static friction will also increase with the force you are applying, right? When there's a when you don't overcome the static friction, the force you apply is getting equal to the static friction, right? So this was given in the orderlytude. If you check, even the recordings are there. This was there, right? I'll explain the same way it came to the exam. So most of them will answer 4, but I think the 4 is also not there in the answers. This is there. Even the 4 is there. So they will definitely head to 4. The answer is 1, right? Right. Come to the question number 42. Water in a household electric kettle reaches a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius in 3 minutes. And the kettle is kept switched on for another 2 minutes. Consider the following statements. A. The temperature of the water rises above 100 degrees of Celsius during the last 2 minutes. What? The temperature of the water rises above 100 degrees of Celsius? No. It will rise above 100 degrees if the pressure is increased. Otherwise, it stays constant, that is latent heat. When the latent heat is applied, the temperature has to be same, but if you increase the pressure of the system, the temperature will set for a higher value for as the boiling point. That is basically pressure cooker. We discussed this, right? That is basically pressure cooker. Pressure cooker is like when you apply more pressure, the boiling temperature will be settled in a higher temperature, right? So anyway, the first statement is wrong. Water evaporation begins when its temperature reaches 100 degrees of Celsius only. Water evaporation begins when its temperature reaches okay. Water evaporation begins when its temperature reaches 100. No, that's vaporization, right? Vaporization occurs when it's 100 degrees of Celsius, but evaporation can happen in any temperature. This is wrong. Wow. The gas bubbles that emerge at the bottom of the kettle after 3 minutes consist mostly of dissolved air in the water. Gas bubbles that emerge at the bottom of the kettle after 3 minutes is in the 100 degrees of Celsius. Mostly dissolved air, no, right? If that much of air is there in water, no, right? No, that's not what actually happens. So it's not actually the water that bubbles at 100 degrees of Celsius. You know, like when it's boiling, you see the bubbles emerge, right? So those bubbles are actually the water vapor. That the water is vaporized at the bottom and the vapor comes up like a bubble. So it's not any gas. So this is also wrong. So all are wrong. The gas bubbles that emerge at the bottom of the kettle after 3 minutes consists mostly of dissolved air in the water. No. So everything wrong? Above statement, only B is correct, only C is correct, B and C are correct, all A, B and C are correct, all A, B and C are incorrect. All A, B, C are incorrect. Thank you. Answer 5. Right? Should be answer 5. The temperature of the water rises above 100 degrees of Celsius. No. Water evaporation begins. No, that's vaporization. No. So yeah, all A, B, C are incorrect. Good. There is a horizontal balance seesaw. A child of mass 50 kg sat on the side of seesaw 2 meters away from the pivot. How far from pivot the other child of mass 20? Ayyo, this is too easy. Ne? So there is a rod and this is the pivot point, let's say. A boy is kept in 15 kg with 15 kg weight. In how many meters is it? 2 meters away from the pivot. So this is the pivot. And there's another one of 20 kg mass. We don't know where to put him. They're asking for the rod to be under equilibrium for how much of a distance that the 20 kg mass should be kept, right? So they're asking this distance, let's say it's x. So it's 15 into 2 equals, this is all levels, 20 into x is too easy, 1.5 meters, easy, that's easy. Right, 44. What is the minimum energy required to pump 1000 kg of water from a well to an overhead tank situated 1.5 meters above the water level of well, considering G equals 10? That is mgh, right? And the answers are given in kilowatt hours. Well, now kilowatt hours can be converted into joules. We'll check the answers. We'll find the power. What is the minimum energy required to pump 1000 kg water from a well to an overhead tank situated 15 meters above the water level of the well? The time isn't given, ne? This is the minimum energy required to pump 1000 kg water from a well to an overhead tank situated 15 meters above the water level of the well. Okay, the time isn't given. Anyways, we'll do this. So it's 1000 and 15 meters, mgh. We'll do what we know, right? So we'll check the answers. That's what we have to do. Right. So it's, I lost it. How many kilograms is it? 1000 kilograms, 15 meters. So it's 1000 kilograms, 15 mgh, G is 10, H is 15. So this is 15 into 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 to the power 4 joules, right? And the answers are given in kilowatt hours, right? So now the simplest thing we can do is kilowatt hour is again a unit of joules, right? Or a unit of energy, because kilowatt hours is like, kilo is 1000 anyways, watt into hour is what is work or energy over time, either work over time or the energy over time. Hour is again time, So kilo is anyways 1000. So T to cancelled. So kilowatt hours is energy anyways. Now then we have to convert this into kilowatt hours. How do you do that? So to convert this into kilo, you have to divide by 1000, and if this, let's say, happens in 1 second, we don't know. Let's say if this happens in 1 second, so convert this into hour. You have to divide 1 second by 3600. That converts this into hours. So you have to simplify this. How many zeros are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this cancels out. So it's 15 divided by 360. How much is 15 divided by 360? How much is 15? I just converted the joules of energy into kilowatt hours. I considered the time is 1 second. How much? 15 over 15 divided by 360. 0.0416. 0.416. Yeah, 041. Yeah, 041. 0.042116. This is the answer. Not this one. Who circled this one? This one, right? 45. If an electric vehicle with a mass of 200 kg accelerates from the rest to 220 meters per second in 10 seconds, what should be the minimum power of the motor? Ignore the energy loss. So the power of the motor. 200 kg mass, right? 200 kg mass accelerates from the rest to 20 meters per second in 10 seconds. Time is given. You can find the acceleration if you want. What should be the minimum power of the motor? So it's basically 200 kilograms have a velocity of 20 meters per second in 10 seconds, right? Kinetic energy divided by time, isn't it? It's kinetic energy divided by time. Yeah. Kinetic energy divided by time. So it's 2000 or 200? 2000 kilograms. 2000 kilograms. So it's EK equals half mv square. That is half into mass is 2000. Velocity is 10 square. 2 to 2 cancels. 3 of the zeros are there, 2 of the zeros are 1 into 10 to the power 5 joules, and the time is 10 seconds. 1 into 10 to the power 4 joules. That's what I got. 1 into 10 to the power 4 joules. This is 10,000 joules. No answer there? That's not how it's done. This is 20 meters per second. I took 10 meters per second. 20 meters per second. So it's 20 square. I'm sorry, this is low. So it's 400. 4 into 10 to the power 5. 3 zeros, 2 zeros, 10 to the power 5. Divided by 10 seconds to make it power. So it's equal to 4 into 10 to the power 4 watts. 4 into 10 to the power 4 watts. Yes. 40 watts. Right, that's the answer. So basically the physics parts are easy. 46. At the critical temperature of a material, So in the critical temperature of a material, the resistance becomes 0 if it is a semiconductor. So if it is a semiconductor, at the if it is a superconductor, at the critical temperature of a material, it becomes a superconductor. Its conductivity becomes 0, resistivity becomes 0. It has its highest resistance now. Becomes a superconductor, correct? It becomes an electrical insulator. What do you say? Becomes an electrical insulator. No. It becomes a semiconductor. No. Answer 3. Critical temperature graph है मतलब दिया करने बा इनमें graph है में नहीं resistivity का ही temperature का ही graph है मैं कहता हूँ critical temperature के मतलब graph मतलब दिया करना graph लिंक इन्हें पुला इन्हें का पार नहीं पार metal flask completely filled with 500 milliliter of oil is at 20 degrees of Celsius. When the temperature is increased to 70 degrees of Celsius, 3.5 milliliter of oil overflows. 20 volts, 70 volt metal flask 500 milliliter of oil, right? If coefficient of volume expansion of oil is 9.5, right? Is 9.5 10 to the power minus 4 Celsius. What is the coefficient of volume expansion of the metal? Okay. So this is what it says. We did sort of questions like this. So there's, let's say, a container and there's oil 500 milliliters, and when this is heated up, it spills a bit of oil out, and that spilling amount is 3.5 milliliters, and the temperature is 20 to 50 degrees of Celsius. Is it 70 degrees of Celsius? 70 degrees of Celsius, and gamma is given of what? Expansion of oil. Gamma oil like 9.5 into 10 to the power minus 4. Gamma oil like 9.5 into 10 to the power minus 4 per Kelvin. How did I bring a hand and got the what is the coefficient of volume expansion of metal? Coefficient of volume expansion of metal. So now metal like gamma m. Do you understand that when you heat this up, even the metal is expanding and the oil is expanding, and bit of the space that is made after expanding the metal will take by the oil, which means though this spills out, like it isn't the complete expand oil that was spilled out, right? So it's bit of extra expanded remains inside the container because to fill the empty space of when the metal is expanded. So metal is expanding, that empty space is filled by the expand oil, and bit of a rest, like the excess, is only spilled. So 3.5 is spilled, right? A metal flask completely filled with 500 milliliter of oil is increase. 3.5 is overflows. So if you put the delta L equals L naught gamma delta theta to the oil, you will get the exact volume that is expanding, right? අපි මේ oil එකට දානවා expansivity එක. එකෙන් ඔයාලට ගන්න පුළුවන් exact amount of oil expanded. කියන්නේ sorry delta V. You should volume එක ගන්න. Delta V equals V naught gamma delta theta. So we had to find the exact volume that was expanded. So the initial volume was 500 milliliters. So if you apply it in milliliters here, the answer will be milliliters as well. Gamma is 9.5 into 10 to the power minus 4. Delta theta is 50. Put it in simplify करके. Delta ले किए देने. $500 9.5 into 10 to the power minus 4 50 टक कर गया समझ 500 पते एक मिनट दाना नहीं किया 9.5 into 50 23.75 yeah 23.75 so this is the exact amount expanded but only 3.5 was spilled ne 3.5 spilled une හැබැයි මෙන්න මෙච්චරක් expand වෙලා තියෙනවා නේ so what happens to the rest of this volume this much of volume was expanded so if it was filled like completely full this much of volume should be overflowing but only this much overflowed so rest of the volume must be gone to the space that was expanded by the metal right so the excess volume that wasn't spilled out was the empty space made by the expansion of the metal do you understand that so the difference of these two of the volumes is the expansion of the metal right difference of two of these volumes is actually the expansion of the metal right so we can write this formula what actual expansion of oil equals visual expansion right visual expansion of foil minus plus expansion of container I hope you can remember the equation so actual expansion is 23.75 visual expansion is 3.5 plus expansion of container. So this gives the expansion of container of container equal in 23.75 minus 3.5 that is 20.25 the milliliters 20.25 මේ තියෙන්නේ expand වෙච්ච volume එක හොඳේ ඔය තියෙන්නේ මොකද්ද ඔය තියෙන්නේ metal එකේ delta v අපෙන් අහන්නේ gamma delta v equals v naught gamma theta නේ this is delta v හරි expansion of the metal 2.25 this should equal to V naught එක metal එකේ initial volume එක කීයද 500 නේ මොකද 500 වලින් නම් තමයි expand වෙන්නේ oil එකේ volume එකයි metal එකේ volume එක අපි equal කියලා ගන්න. එයා තමයි expand වෙන්නේ. you have to find gamma m delta T is 50 එකම temperature difference එක. so gamma m should equal to 2.25 divided by 500 into 50 ටග්ගල් divide කළා කියන්නේ divide කරලා කියන්න පුතේ. Right, so you have written 2.25. Is it 20 point? 20.25 නේ 20.25 මෙතන මම ලිව්වේ එහෙමද? 20.25 sorry 20.25 ඒව හරියට ලියන්න. මෙතන අතර 20.25 ඒක ඩිවයිඩ් කරලා හරි ගන්න කියන්නේ 20.25 මේ පොඩ අර හදිස්සිය හදනකොට මෙහෙම වෙනවනේ. හදිස්සිය කියන්නේ අපිට තව 15 minutes වගේ තියෙන්නේ ඉවර කරන්න. හරි, so the final answer මේක ඩිවයිඩ් කරලා කියන්නේ 20.25 divided by 500 into 50 ඒක 2.2025 දෙන්න වෙන බෑ. ඒකමද? ඒකම වෙන්න බෑනේ. මේක නේදෝට 25,000 හරිද? 20.25 divided by 25,000 0.3 of the 081. Yeah, this one. Enable. Into the right take then no 0.00081 ne ekadam hari එතකොට මේක අපිට ආන්සර් එක තියෙනවා මේකනේ කොහොමද නැති වෙන්නේ වයිට් අන්තිම එකක්වත් නැහැ මේක තමයි ගන්න. A rectangular shaped canal narrows at a certain place from a wide width of 8 meter and depth of 2 meter. So width එක 8 meter depth එක 2 meter තියෙන කැනල් එකක් හොඳයි. තන්දු මෙන්න කැනල් එකක් කියලා. මේ depth එක 2 meter. හරි. To width of 8 meter and depth of 2 meter to a width of 4 meter. එතන මේකේ අඩු වෙනවා මෙහෙම ගිහිල්ලා width of 4 meter මේක 4 meter වෙනවා. depth එක 2 එක 4 meters වෙනවානේ. මේක 4 meters වෙනවා. ටිකක් වැඩි වෙනවා. depth එක 2 meters width of 4 meter. අනේ width එක 4 depth එක 3 sorry මේක 3 වෙනවා පොඩ්ඩක් වැඩි වෙනවනේ මෙහෙම යන්න කමන්නේ 3 meters මේ පැත්ත ලොකුයි මේ පැත්ත පොඩි. If the water flows at 3 meters per second in the wider section මෙන්න මේ හරිය 3 meters per second යන්නේ. What is the speed that the water flows in the narrow section? හරි අපි ඒක බලමු. එතකොට A1 V1 equals A2 V2 වෙනවනේ. එතකොට එනවා A කියන්නේ 8 into 2. This is the area. Velocity is 3 equals area 2 is 4 into 3. Velocity we have to find. So 3 to 3 cancels out. 4 times 2. 2 into 2 is 4. V2 is 4. I hope the simplification is correct. Put balan neva me will have simplification. Put I have a handful. Hari 49. A container with water having a total mass of 5 kg is placed on a balance as shown in the figure. Container 5 kg තියනවලු. ඒක balance එකකට තියලා තියෙනවා. A spear of mass 1 kg is suspended by a light string is immersed in water. මේක immerse කරලා තියෙනවා 1 kg weight එක. The tension in the string is 5 newtons. Tension එක 5 newtons. What is the reading of the scale? Scale එකේ reading එක අහන්නේ හොඳේ. Scale reading එක එතකොට බලන්න මෙයාගේ weight එක 5 නේ. හරිද? මෙයාගේ 1 kg කියන්නේ මෙයාගේ 10 newtons තියෙනවා weight එක පල්ලෙහාට. 5 newtons එනවා කියලා කියන්නේ up thrust එක තියෙනවා කීයක්ද? 5 newtons උඩට. හරි. එතකොට rope එකෙන් 10 newtons අල්ලගෙන ඉන්නවා. ඒක මෙයාට දැනෙන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි 5 newtons up thrust එකකින් උස්සන් ඉන්නවා. up thrust එකකින් උස්සන් ඉන්න 5 newtons මේ beak එකට දැනෙනවා. මොකද 5 newtons තමයි tension එකෙන් අල්ලගෙන ඉන්නේ. ඒක මෙයාට එන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට 5 kg plus 0.5 newtons කියලා කියන්නේ 0.5 kg. So altogether 5.5 kg තමයි කාට දැනෙන්නේ නේද? Reading of the scale. මෙයාට දැනෙන්නේ 5.5 kg. Answer 4. An electrical appliance of power 6 watt is connected to the secondary coil of a step down transformer. Step down එකට electrical appliance එකක් අල්ලලා තියෙනවා 6 watt එකක. 240 volt to 12 volt තමයි drop down එක. What is the current in the primary coil? Current in the primary coil කොච්චරද කියලා අහන්න. Okay. So it's basically VP IP equals VSIS, right? And the electrical appliance in the secondary is directly 6 because VSIS is the watts or the electrical power. So that's the direct power given. We hope that no energy is wasted or anything has assumed that the transformer is ideal, which means no energy lost. So VP is how much? 240. You have to find I. That will be how much? I equals 6 over 240, which is 6 times 1, 6 times 4. 1 over 40. 1 over 40 කියන්නේ කීයද? 1 over 40 is how much? 0.25, 0.025. 0.025 amperes. 0.025 amperes milliamperes kan 1000 only multiply karna 1 2 3. So 25 amperes. That's it, ne? Right. So that's the MCQ. You understood it, right? You can primary එකේ power එකයි secondary එකේ power එකයි equal නේ. VP IP equals VS IS. So the power of the secondary නේ appliance එක ගහලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක 6 watt කියලා අපිට directly ගන්න පුළුවන්. So it's 6. Right. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you understood it up to now. So we'll see. Yes, okay. We'll see you the next week then with the second part discussion again, and we'll do some more papers. And depending on the attendance, I'll be deciding how much I'll be doing. Right. I'll see you next week. Bye.
තමන් ඒ කරගන්න ගමන් ඔයා ගාව තියෙනවනේ සම්පත් පොත. කොල්ල මේක AC එක චුට්ටක් අඩු කරලා දෙන්න. අඩු කරලා දෙන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ 25ට විතර දාන්න 26ට විතර දාන්න. ඔයා මේක හරියටම සෙන්ටර් වෙන්නේ නැති දැනක වඩනවා නම් හරි. ඔව් කෙලින්ම අර ඔයා කෙලින්ම ඉන්නවා ගෙන්කට. ඈ? කෙලින්ම වළංගට එන්නේ. මේ ඉස්සරහා මේ හරියට හරි එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ හරියට හරි එහෙම නැත්නම් අර මේ ගර්ල්ස් ලයින් එකට පිටිපස්සෙන් හරි. ඕන එකක්. මාව හරි ඔයා දාන්නකෝ. මාරු ගන්නවද මම තට්ටුවක් දාන්න. මට මෙතන පේනවනේ. දානවද එහෙනම්?